not aware of anything in the way of injury news or anything along those lines. So hopefully we should be looking at a good competitive game between two very proud nations later on today as they both battle to get out of the group. Don't know what the result earlier means for USA, to be honest, because it's kind of really thrown a spanner in the works. All of a sudden now, Iran are very much in the conversation. So Iran victorious earlier today. They beat Wales 2-0. Heartbreak for Wales. Those goals being conceded very, very late. So, as we said, very upsetting, very heartbreaking for the Welsh to be conceding goals that late. And it really does put them in a very difficult situation, a very problematic situation. Now, they're going to have to get a result against England. That sort of changes the game now because all of a sudden England really need to get a result here. I would say that result earlier for USA is not great because it adds Iran into the conversation. And not only does it add Iran into the conversation, but it means that Wales are going to go all out against England. They were always going to go all out against England, but now they are playing to stay in the World Cup. Like Wales now are playing against England to try and remain in this World Cup. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting, the game between England and USA. That is coming up later, though. Our attention is turning to the Netherlands. Netherlands winning their first game 2-0 against Ecuador, against Senegal, sorry. And now they're facing Ecuador. And, let's see how this game goes. Ecuador were victorious in that first game week as well. Dort Knight said, England and Iran will go through. It shows how good the England result was. Well, I mean, look, Iran were going to respond, weren't they? Iran were going to bounce back. I think they were humiliated against England. I think that they were, and you are right, it did show how amazing that result was. But I think they were hurting because I think they're a better team than what they showed. I didn't think they played very well against England. I think they let their standards drop and England punished them again and again and again. And I think this was their chance to respond and to show that they are a better team than what they put up. But it's going to be an interesting game later and heartbreak, as we said, for Wales because I really expected them and fancied them to get something from that game. I must admit, I was surprised that they ended up losing. I thought at the very least they would draw. On FIFA rankings, they're actually ranked higher. So, Rainblood said, do you think England can win the World Cup? I think England have a chance, right? My feelings on England haven't changed. So my feelings on England were that they're one of the favourites coming into this tournament. And I quite fancied them to get to the quarterfinal. A lot of people say they're going to lose at the quarterfinal when they play France, if that's how the bracket is going to work out. A lot of people think that that's where England are going to stumble. But I think that if we play France, we've got a really good chance. I felt that way for a while, mainly because of France's injury problems. I mean, they have got no Pogba, no N'Golo Kante. They've just lost Benzema, of course. Now they've lost Hernandez. And yes, they've got amazing squad depth. There's no denying that. Like, you lose someone and someone just as good comes into the team. So they've got amazing squad depth. But obviously, we've still got a way to go until we get to the quarterfinals. And we don't know what other injuries could be picked up. And of course, England could pick up some injuries along the way also. But it just feels to me like England are full of confidence. England are playing well as a team. England are, they've got good momentum and hopefully that can maintain. If they get through the group and get past Senegal, I can only imagine they're going to be in a good place mentally. I mean, obviously I don't know about injuries by the time we get there, but looking at it right now, would England be petrified of facing France? Is it certain elimination? No, I really don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. Yes, France are a fantastic team. And I think it would be a 50-50 type game, and England absolutely could go home. But it's a game that I think England can progress through as well. We've seen France only win one of their last 6 games coming into the World Cup. And granted, they scored 4 against Australia, and things were looking pretty good. So they've got off to a great start as well. But as we said, let's see as the tournament progresses. That is the sticking point. Quarterfinals looks to be the sticking point. You can't look past Senegal or Ecuador or whatever, but England would be firm favourites in those games. Then we would go, as we said, to play France. After that, it looks like it could be Portugal. And to be honest, Portugal did not look all that great when we saw them the other day. So who even knows if it would be Portugal in the semi-finals. England, I think, have got an opportunity here to get to a World Cup final. I genuinely believe that. I believe they've got an opportunity to get through to the World Cup final. Brazil, I think, are a problem. I really think Brazil are a problem. France are clearly a problem. But as I said, I see that being a bit of a 50-50 game. You never know what France is going to show up. So they're a problem. Spain are a problem. I put England around about 4th or 5th. And that's, I think, where they are in the favourite list as well. So I think England are at 4th or 5th. I think, thankfully, 2 of those teams ahead of England are hopefully going to be on the other side of the draw. Brazil and Spain, both on the other side of the draw. We don't need to worry about them until the final. So Brazil and Spain go on to the other side. On this side of the draw, it's going to be England. It's going to be France, and I don't know, who knows where Argentina's going to go. They could go out. They could go on that side of the draw. They could come on our side of the draw. I have no idea where Argentina are going because of that result against Saudi Arabia. And as we said, they could go home. So I would like to see Argentina go home. I'm desperately hoping with every fibre in my body that they lose against Mexico, because it'd be great for England if they were done. That's another team we don't need to worry about. But, it's I think England do have a chance. So it's always hard to say, do you think England are going to win the World Cup? No, because I think Brazil are going to win the World Cup. But I think England have got a great chance of making it quite far into this tournament. England haven't gotten out of the group yet. No, that's true. We've still got to do that. But I thought their performance against Iran was just so full of confidence. I expect a good result today. I think it would be a shock if we were to lose to the US. Would it be a shock if we drew? I suppose it would be, but I look, nothing but respect to the US. I think the US have got a decent side. So, and I think the US are going to be really up for it considering what they just saw, because all of a sudden US now know that it's not only Wales they're battling with, they've got to deal with Iran. If Iran had lost this game today, that was pretty much it for Iran. If they'd have fallen here, then they were right out of it. But now we find ourselves in a situation. In fact, I think they would have been out of it, like not just right out of it, actually out of it. If they'd have lost Iran today, they would have been out, because they would have had no points against England and no points against Wales. And Wales would have had 1 point against USA, and they would have had 3 points for beating Iran. So, I'm pretty sure that Iran would have been out if they'd have lost today. So, anyway, put it to one side because we don't need to worry about that. Iran picked up a victory. It does make the group very interesting. And I think England are going to be fully focused, fully up for it. It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be spicy in the chat, but hopefully respectable as well. And that coming up next. This is very much the starter. Mark, shout out to you. Hope you are well. Team news, I'm waiting to come through. I haven't seen the team news confirmed yet for Netherlands against Ecuador. I hope people got a chance to do their... Oh, it looks like it might have come through because this has changed now. I hope everyone got a chance to do their... No Depay. No Memphis Depay. That's a bit of a shock. No Memphis Depay for Netherlands. So, Yeah, if anyone brought in Depay, that's a bit disappointing. But I hope everyone got a chance to do their fantasy team, because you could have 2 free transfers last night. Obviously, this is now the start of the next round of games. So let's change this over, because we've got the teams at the bottom were the predicted lineups. This looks like it's the actual lineups, because we do have some change to the team news. Let's go down, change that there. So there we go. That looks like the team news. So it looks like they're playing Bergwijn, Gakpo, and Klaassen up front. Then we've got Dumfries, we've got Koopmeiners, we've got De Jong, we've got Daley Blind, and at the back we've got Timber, Virgil van Dijk, and Nathan Ake with Noppert in goal. So that is how we're looking. And actually what's really good is it gives you their kind of score so far in the tournament. So you can just get a bit of an idea as to how they did in the last game. So Timber didn't play in the last game. Noppert did, and he got an 8. And then, like, you can see how everyone... Gakpo with a 7.8. And you can see how everyone else performed. And then same over with Ecuador as well. Valencia, of course, scoring twice. And so in that last game, he got an 8.7 rating. So we've got the team news at the bottom. We've got their ratings at the bottom as well. This should be a fun game, because this is a battle of 2 teams that actually won their first games. So both of these sides were victorious in their first games. So now we get to see what happens when they play each other. So yes, very much looking forwards to this one. Of course, we did also have another game today, which is worth just mentioning. And that was 3-1 to Senegal. So Senegal victorious, 3-1. Goals were scored by, let's have a little look. Dia scored. Diadiu. I don't know, Diadiu. Muntari scored for Qatar, so that gave them something to cheer. And Baba Dieng as well, also getting a goal for Senegal. So Senegal victorious against Qatar, 3-1, and I think that's pretty much it for Qatar. Now, if we look at the standings, Qatar find themselves on 0 points, and whoever wins this, if they've got a chance now, I think they're pretty much out. I think they're going to be out, because even if they win their last game, they're only going to be on 3 points. And, Netherlands will, someone's going to get some points here. So clearly Qatar can't finish first. And I think second is going to be out of their reach as well. So looks like Qatar are out. Here we go. In the event that 2 or more teams have got an equal number of points by the end, then goal difference is what we look at first. Then it's goals scored, and then it's head-to-head. That's really interesting. So it's goal difference first, which is really interesting. So, let's see how this group shakes out. But we'll have a better idea when we get to the end of this game. Right, let's go back to this. I want to try and get back to the chat and chat away with you guys. I've got England as one of my picks to win the World Cup, says Kian. Whilst I was doing my draft picks with my cousin. Yeah, I mean, look, England are a good outside shout. When I say outside, I don't mean drastically outside, but just, I think Brazil are favourites. I think France are right up there. Spain are in the conversation. You could say Argentina, but then it's England. England are just that they're not quite S tier. I would say England are A tier. So they're not a bad outside shout at all. They are right up there in the hunt. And as we said, look very good with their first game. Tall Paul said, I made my transfers, finally cut loose Benzema, and overall had a very bad round. Yeah, I had a bad round. I actually wildcarded last night. I played my wildcard, and I got out a load of players which just didn't do it for me. Didn't think they looked very good. So brought in some people that had much better first rounds and people that I think have got some decent fixtures coming up. So Don't know. Had to play that earlier than I wanted, to be honest. But let's see. Might work, might not work. It's good though. Hope people are enjoying it, and we will obviously, as the game's progressing, continue to look at the leaderboard. We didn't look at it too much in the first round because not all of the teams had played anyway. So it was kind of a bit redundant to see how things were going because until all the teams had played, it didn't really matter, to be honest. But now that we've got a good first round in the bag and we're starting to get into the second round, we will start looking at the fantasy game and we will start looking at the leaderboards probably at the end of every day rather than doing it like all the time throughout the day. We'll probably final game of the day. So once we're done with England against USA tonight, then we will have a look and see how the leaderboard is looking at the end of each day. William said, everyone knows I'm a biased mod. William, shout out to you. Unless you would like to put our enemy ship on hold so you can enjoy our stream. William, I hope you are well. Hope you are looking forward to the game. Kian said, I've got England as one of my picks. Daniel said, did you know the USA beat England in 1950? 1-0 in one of the biggest upsets. Can history repeat itself? Well, anything is possible. Anything is possible. I mean, hopefully you've seen enough of the first round to know that, yes, anything can happen. That's what makes the game so... I mean, imagine if there was just no chance. Imagine if it was like, well, no, these kinds of upsets never happen, so no, it's not going to happen. No, it absolutely can happen, yes. I think not only that, though, not only is it a case that USA can get something out of the game, like you have to say that there's actually a really good chance that they could keep it really tight, frustrate England, if you can get to half-time, 0-0, 1-0 down at worst, right? If you can get to half-time with that, I think just set yourself little markers. I mean, if we were playing France, if we were playing Brazil, that would be my mindset of like, well, let's just get to half-time. Let's just get to half-time, 0-0, maybe 1-0 down at worst, at very worst case scenario. But if we can at least just be level, get to halftime, and then we can halftime team talk. The manager can have a look at it. What does he think we need? What changes can we bring on? What fresh legs have we got on the bench? And take it from there, basically. But I mean, if USA can frustrate England, keep it tight. England are going to have lots of the ball. They're going to be in USA's half. USA are going to have to defend really well. We've seen plenty of teams that have made it difficult for the opposition to break them down. And so the problem is, obviously, if one goal becomes 2 goals, then all of a sudden it seems like 3, 4, 5 can follow quite quickly. We saw that with Spain. Spain, obviously, took a little while, not too long, but a little while to get there first, and then boom, second, third, fourth, fifth. I think there is something to be said for the morale and heads dropping, and it's fine margins. It might not seem like fine margins, but winning that tackle, like preventing the pass that could have led to a goal. If you don't quite win that tackle, say you normally do, but you don't quite win it because your legs are a bit tired, your head's a bit, you're a bit demotivated, you can't quite get to it. Like, this is what happens when teams find themselves 4 down, 5 down. It's hard to find that motivation. You don't want to be getting smashed, but you just can't find it in your legs. It's just not in your legs. And this is where 4 becomes 5, becomes 6. And I think that's what happened to Costa Rica. I think that's what happened to Iran. I don't think they're horrific teams that if Spain played them again, they would lose 7-0. I don't think if England played Iran again, they would lose 6-2. I think that it's just a case of once you get to a certain point, your legs are a bit heavy, your head's a bit fuzzy. Everything just becomes harder. And you just need to make sure you don't get to that stage. Don't get to that point. Make sure that you are putting in the tackles, putting in the work. Leave it all on the fields. It's gonna have to be one of those. Frustrate England. England do not play well when they're frustrated. England try to keep things calm, but England always result in just passing it around the back. We've seen England so many times just keeping the ball in their defence, not knowing what to do with it. The only hope I've got as an England fan is that if that does happen, we do now possess someone in Jude Bellingham who I really think has the ability to grab the ball in that situation, have his head up, and to move forward and spray passes off and actually make something happen. You know, England have been searching for that Jude Bellingham player for a long time. I mean, we sort of thought we had it in Calvin Phillips. You might remember Calvin Phillips at the Euros. He picked up the ball. He drove forward. I think he might have scored England's first goal at the Euros. And so in Phillips, we were like, okay, we've got something here. Like, we've got a midfielder that's not just about protecting the back line or playing on the wings. We've got a box-to-box. We've got an actual box-to-box midfielder. Not Mason Mount, who tends to play in the 10. Not Declan Rice, who tends to play in the 4 and shield the back line. We've found a box-to-box. We've got someone that can make a difference. And it didn't quite pan out. It didn't quite work out. I think he's very good, but Jude Bellingham is a different level. I think Jude Bellingham really could be the difference maker in these types of games where, you know, a team is going to sit deep. They're going to be hard to break down, and you need someone to provide that. Beat a player, create some space, play the ball off, drive the team forwards. We didn't have that. We never didn't have that before. I was so used to watching England see the ball just getting passed around the defence, going down that channel, no joy. Going down that channel, no joy. Try in the middle, tackle. Back down that channel, no joy. And it was frustrating to watch. It was patient. And, you know, we would win a game, say 1-0. But now with Jude, I feel a lot more confident. And certainly Saka as well. I mean, Saka, I think, has really improved since last summer. Last summer, he was taking people, beating them, trying to get some crosses in. But now we're seeing him go into the centre a bit more, link up a little bit more. Quite excited by Saka, quite excited by Bellingham. So I think it's going to be really hard for the USA. I think it's going to be really, really hard. But they can absolutely get some out of it. Yes, they can absolutely get some out of it. I made a few changes. I brought in Bellingham, said James. Good move. I think he could have a good day today. I think he could have a good day, good game today. That was game and day mixed together. I think he's going to have a good day, right? I feel pretty good that even if England get a draw, I think that if they score, I could see Bellingham playing a part in it. I really could. Because I just think USA are going to keep it tight because they're going to need to keep it tight. I think USA know that they can't play open, expansive football against England because player for player, we're not being nasty. England are the better team. I mean, they are the better team. They play at a higher level. They play in the Premier League. A lot of the American players play in the MLS. And so the USA team has improved. I mean, 4 years ago, they didn't even qualify, but they are here now. And, they got a good battling draw against Wales. Disappointed to not take the 3 points. I thought the way USA played in the first half was very, very good against Wales. And if, that USA shows up, it's going to be a challenge. And I suppose in a way, I wouldn't be surprised if it was level at halftime or England were just slightly ahead. But England's bench could be the difference maker. Jude Bellingham, of course, has got the ability to unlock defences. Saka, I think, is in the form of his life. I mean, if you've got the ability to bring on a Rashford, bring on a Grealish, do you know what I mean? Bring on these types of Foden, bring on these types of players. It's really hard to kind of match that. And to be able to turn to your bench and kind of bring people on that can match that. But at the end of the day, it's 11 versus 11, isn't it? It's 11 humans taking on 11 humans just because, these people play at a higher level. It's no guarantee they're going to be able to actually bring that skill onto the pitch at that time. Again, if they get frustrated, if they're not getting the ball, you could be the greatest player in the world, but if you're not getting on the ball, you can't do anything, can you? Jude. I'm talking about how great Jude Bellingham is and how he can unlock a defense. If he ain't getting the ball, then he can't do anything. So I expect to see the US doubling up on Jude. I really do, because I think if he's on the ball, I think you need to get it off him pretty quick, because he has got the ability to make things happen. But that's the game later, and really looking forward to it. Never underestimate any World Cup team. They're here to win the World Cup. They will play with heart and passion. Sonny said, is there UFC and Survivor Series? There's no UFC tomorrow. It's just Survivor Series. So we are doing Survivor Series tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it, because obviously it's probably the big last show of the year. I'm not aware of another premium live event this year. So this could be the last big show of 2022 for WWE. So looking forward to it. See what they do. I thought we just had a pay-per-view from AEW that really changed a few things. We had MJF as new champ. Obviously, they've just made Jamie Hayter the actual women's champ. And it kind of felt like there was a few little shifts that AEW made. I don't know that WWE need to make any major shifts. I feel like Ronda's fine as champ. Obviously, Bianca can't lose her title at Survivor Series. Neither can Roman. But we can certainly create some new stories and new feuds. For example, what's Alexa going to do? Is Bray going to be on that show? What would be next for Bray? What's next for Finn Balor? Like, are we just going to keep doing OC and Judgment Day, or are they going to move on to something different? Like, what are we doing with Austin Theory? So, will we get an answer there? Could we see Brock Lesnar? Because, of course, last time we saw Brock, he was in a match with Bobby, and he got kind of humbled. He got the win, but it didn't look brilliant. So, I think there's a lot that could go down at Survivor Series, and not even, Charlotte coming back or anything like that. I think there's a lot that could go down in regards to twists, swerves, what's happening with Sammy, for example, in the Bloodline. I feel like that story might take a big step forwards. I am looking forward to it. That's, tomorrow night, not that far away now. Last big WWE show of the year. I'm going to watch this stream whilst playing Football Manager, says Millennial. Very good. Easy99 said, we had a premium live event, but NXT version, NXT Deadline. We'll do that. Well, yeah, we have got it down to do that. But it's obviously not Survivor Series or main roster. Which, I don't know, I'm really split on. I don't know if they should do one in December. I don't know. A part of me agrees that if we don't do a pay-per-view in December, that means we don't have any go-home shows. And I'm kind of hoping that means that the Raws and the SmackDowns get better. If the Raws and the SmackDowns actually have, good stories build in and they play out on there and everything, I think that would be really exciting. But I hope we don't just kind of tread water. Do you know what I mean? I hope we don't just put rubbish episodes out just waiting to get to the Rumble. That would really suck. So I don't know. It's down to WWE. They need to put on some really, really impressive Raws and SmackDowns if we're not going to have a premium live event. NXT Deadline is December 10th, says Easy99. Has your mum watched any of the games? She's watched all of them, man. She loves... Well, she's someone that likes doing housework, all the time. She's ironing, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. And she always has the TV on. And sport's just a great thing to have on in the background, isn't it? Because you can't really watch a movie because you need to keep up with the story. But sport's brilliant because you can pop in, what's the score, okay, see what's happening, see where the game's going. So, if there's any games on, she tends to have them all on, to be honest. So, yeah, she'll be watching them. Wrestle with Andy, hello, said, made a few big-time subs. Took out Messi and Neymar for Mbappe and Kane. Well, brave. I mean, Messi, I think, and Argentina are going to want to respond after that Saudi Arabia loss. It's going to be tricky for them to respond with any kind of conviction against Mexico, because Mexico are also a very proud footballing nation who have made it out of the group for the past 7 World Cups. So you do look at it and think, well, Argentina can win that game, but they're not likely to win it 5, 6, 7-0. Could they win it 3-0? Maybe. 3-1, maybe. Don't know. I quite fancy Argentina to get the win. But, maybe taking Messi out isn't the worst idea. Certainly if it means that you can bring in, someone like Mbappe. And, I completely ripped my team up, to be honest. It wasn't a disastrous first week. It was just well below what I was hoping for. And I think, there was a few shocks in there. There was a few teams that you fancied to do really well that didn't. Belgium, for example, I thought they would do much better than they did. They just squeaked out a victory over Canada. I really thought Belgium would fairly comfortably match Canada. But Canada, doing themselves proud, just need to get the ball in the back of the net. And so all eyes on Canada. I've got a feeling that might be Sunday. I mean, God, we're doing two games every single day. So it's hard to remember what games are on what day. But we're doing 2 games today, of course. Netherlands, Ecuador, England against USA. And then we've got SmackDown. 2 games tomorrow. And then we've got Survivor Series. 2 more games on Sunday, and I think Canada's the Sunday one, so looking forward to that, seeing if they can just take that next step, still play as well as they did, but actually get the ball in the back of the net. So, yeah, good changes, and as I said, if you did just make those little tweaks, I completely ripped my team up, so if you are in a situation where you just feel that you needed to just tweak a few things, I think you're in a really good place. Hawkins Jr. said, I'm working again from home. Thanks for keeping me company. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Back-to-back World War champions, says USA 3, England 0. I tell you what, there'll be some celebrations in the USA if it does go that way. Asib said, rank these: Pedri, Jude, Musiala. Am I ranking them by what I've seen at this World Cup? Or am I ranking them in general? Because if I'm ranking them by what I've seen at this World Cup, then I'm probably going Jude top. Then I'm going... difficult. Then I'd probably go Pedri and then Musiala bottom. And that's really crazy because Musiala looked really good in his game. But I remember SofaScore not giving him a great score. And we looked at it, because I was surprised as well, because he'd looked really lively. He'd looked very dynamic. When he got the ball, he really looked like he was going to do something. But at the end of the day he didn't. He didn't do something. I mean, like, he skipped past a load of defenders, took a shot and missed his shot, which was devastating. If that had gone in, then maybe his score would have, gone up. But his accuracy just failed him at that point. But I think there's a lot of duels that he was losing. And there was like some pass completion that wasn't as strong. And there was actually, when you look at his numbers weren't as impressive as what the game looked like. I think some of the duels that he did win were quite high profile and they stood out, but the ones that he was losing just, happened kind of in the flow of the game, and you didn't really notice those as much. So I must admit, I was surprised. I remember during the Germany game looking at his score on SofaScore going, why is it so low? And then when you looked into the analytics, there was like a few duels that he wasn't winning and stuff like that. I remember Pedri was looking quite good. Gavi as well, looking really, really good. I think both of those are real future talents for Spain. Pass completion and everything. I don't remember his score being outstanding, but I remember his score being pretty solid. In fact, let's see. We should be able to go back and see what his score actually was. When did Spain play? There we go. Pedri, 7.9 in the end. I mean, that's very good. Let's have a look at pass completion. So, 2 duels won. Pass completion, 97%. Yeah, so definitely Pedri over Musiala. But I think the impact that Bellingham had on the game for England, I mean, Bellingham was man of the match against Iran. He was just absolutely immense on the front cover of our national newspapers over here. And played such a big part in that match that I'd have Jude top, then I'd have Pedri, and then I would have Musiala bottom. Where's the Netherlands Ecuador? There we go. Boom. According to the odds, England is 65% favourite. A draw is 22%, and USA 13%. Ranked World Cup performance after one game, except for England. Well, I mean, we can't rank every team, could we? There'd be no way of ranking like all of. Well, there would be a way, but I mean, it would take too long. But I think the teams that impressed me the most, I think Japan are very interesting. I think they're very interesting because of their pace. They showed that defensively they're a little vulnerable. I feel like you can definitely get at Japan, but they defend with a heart and a passion that allows them to just survive. And they did concede to Germany, but they didn't let their heads drop. They hung in there. Some of the changes that they made, I mean, they made some substitutions, and after those substitutions, they looked the better side. And they've got such pace, and the finishing as well. You've got to say the finishing, when their opportunities came, they really took them. So there's a team there that seems to battle away, work with, heart, have a good manager that knows how to make good in-game decisions. They've got pace on the wings as well. Like, they're a team that you sort of look at and think, man, that's the sort of team that you could really slip up against. That's the sort of team that could really cause problems. That's the sort of team that you sort of need Brazil to deal with, and you need Spain to deal with them, because they're a little tricky side. They're not a side I expect to win the World Cup, but they're a side that I could see knocking out a big nation in the next round. They're a side that if England was going to be playing them, I'd be like, oh, God, I really just don't like that. I don't like the look of that game. So I think Japan really caught the eye for me. And not just because they beat Germany, but just I thought the in-game management was really, really good. So I like those guys. I can't say I was really that impressed with anyone from Group A. So the group we're watching now, like, I wasn't that impressed with anyone in the first round of games. I mean, Netherlands got the win, but they certainly didn't do it with much swagger. So, yeah, I wasn't really crazy about those guys. I think USA, if they were injury-free and they're I don't know if they're just lacking just that touch of talent, or if there's just a few cardio issues, or what it is, but their first half against Wales was so good, and the second half was such a big step, noticeable step backwards. Of course, Wales were going to, not be as bad as they were in the first half. But it was right there for USA. USA needed to, match their intensity, and I didn't feel that they did. I didn't feel that the USA performance in the second half was anywhere as good as the first half. And if that says to me, USA might not be able to do it over 90 minutes. USA might have a good 60 minutes in them. But once they start getting to the end of the game, the little niggles, the little injuries they've got might be a problem. So I don't know. I've got question marks about how far USA are going to go here. In regards to Wales, I mean, obviously it looks like they're out. Iran, they might be the team that go through, but I don't think there's anything special there, to be honest. Certainly after seeing them lose 6-2. Brazil, I thought, were excellent. I mean, really. It was a surprise that it was taking so long for them to score. I mean, they were absolutely dominant. Maybe you could say that because they didn't, convert as many opportunities as what Spain did, you could say maybe they're just a bit behind Spain. But to be honest, they were playing a much harder opposition. Serbia topped their qualifying group, and they came through Europe, and European qualifying is tricky. So I think Brazil just had tougher opponents. They looked really good against a really good team. So I'd say Brazil might be the team that I was most impressed with. And then Spain, a very close second, what with scoring 7. Then I might have England third. Japan would be right up there as well. Maybe fourth. Maybe I'd even have Japan fourth as the team that impressed me. France, obviously in the conversation. 4-1, they would be kind of up there in the mix. So those are the, I don't think there's any real surprises there. I think the results largely speak for themselves. I think a lot of the favourites outside of Argentina really showed themselves. The question mark is what's going to happen with Argentina, because you do tend to lose a big nation in the group stages, and to be honest, it's probably going to be Germany. It's probably going to be Germany that go home. They've already lost, and they to Japan. Their next game is against Spain, who look like either the best or second best team in this whole tournament. So, the people of Germany, I should imagine, are just absolutely gutted at the moment. I mean, they are staring a group exit, and there's no two ways about it. But, what a difficult group. Imagine going to a World Cup and your first two games are against Japan and then Spain. The Japan team that we just saw that was fantastic. And then you've got to play one of the best teams in the world to try and stay in the World Cup. Like, this is where the draw can be very, very cruel. Very, very cruel, because obviously Germany would likely get through a group if it had some normal teams, some slightly easier sides. We're seeing teams playing the likes of Costa Rica and, people like that. And Germany don't get that opportunity until they play Costa Rica in the third game. And by that point, they're probably already done. They're probably already on their way home. So, yeah, I do feel a bit sorry for Germany. But we do normally lose at least one big nation in the group stages. I reckon it's going to be Germany. I think Argentina will find a way through. I think Argentina, they had been unbeaten since 2019. And I think, these things happen where you get these shock results, as I said, and that could happen later with USA and England. Argentina unbeaten since 2019. They were on one of the longest international winning streaks ever seen. And then they lose to Saudi Arabia. Like, you just never know when the wheels are going to come off. You never know when that level of performance is going to dip. And that's, what's so great about the World Cup. But I'm proud that an Asian team did very well. No one expects an Asian team to play well. They also prove that Asian teams can play as good as Europe and South American teams, says Easy99. Daniel said the Japan win was massive. I remember when the draw happened, you said that Group E was super tough, says Daniel. Yeah, well, to be honest, it looks super tough because of the fact that you had Germany and Spain in there. Japan is a side that has been at the World Cup, I think it's like the past 5 times. So I think if you've got a team that has consistently qualified for the World Cup, that says that they are one of, if not the best sides from their confederation, be it CONCACAF or wherever they've come through. So I knew that Japan had that proud history of being a lot of recent World Cups. So you sort of look at Japan as being one of those teams that on their day could absolutely, cause an upset. The other teams that I feel that way about are Switzerland. Switzerland are a side which don't get spoken about in regards to who can go on to win a World Cup. They're nowhere near the favourites. But you honestly could put Switzerland in a game against Brazil. You could put Switzerland in a game with Argentina. You could put Switzerland in a game with Spain, and Switzerland could absolutely get a result from those games. We've seen it time and time again from Switzerland. They are so well organised. They are so difficult to beat that Switzerland are one of those teams also. So, like Switzerland, Denmark. Denmark got to the semi-finals of the Euros. They've got some wonderful players. They won the Euros in the early 90s. Never won a World Cup. But again, they're a side that, they're not Brazil. They're not Spain. They're not England or France. They are, probably B tier, maybe even C tier when it comes to teams. I'd say probably B tier, to be honest. But they're definitely a banana skin. They're definitely a problem. They're a team that you wouldn't be doing cartwheels about drawing in the next round. Do you know what I mean? If you got Denmark in the round of 16, you'd be like, oh, God, like it's a 50-50 game. You really wouldn't be happy about it. So, yeah, there's a few. And I think Japan were sort of around that kind of conversation. So you looked at it and went, well, Spain, Germany, and Japan. Like, that's not a great group. That's not a great group. I didn't feel great about this group either, to be honest, because I think that this is the only group, England's group, USA's group. I think I'm right in saying it's the only group where all 4 teams are in the top 20 in the world. It's the only group where all 4 sides are in the top 20. With Iran being 20, I think Wales at 19, USA at 16, and England number 5 in the world. So it's a difficult group. I think England have just done enough in that first game to elevate themselves. And obviously, as an England fan, I'm hoping they'll show that again here, just do enough to elevate themselves. But I think you're seeing how hard it is for the 3 teams below England at the moment. You've got USA drawing with Wales, Wales then losing to Iran. So that should give you an indication of how hard the USA-Iran game is going to be. If you drew with Wales and Wales just lost 2-0, like that kind of gives you an idea that when it's USA versus Iran, you can't take anything for granted in that game. I think any result is possible in that game. Either side can win, or it could be a draw. So USA against Iran is going to be absolutely fascinating. Obviously, Iran winning today, but England beat them in game 1. So it's sort of, it's up in the air. It's anyone's. But I feel good for England. It doesn't look great for Wales. It's starting to shape out like it's going to be either USA or Iran that take that second spot. Obviously, we need to see the result tonight. And you can't take anything for granted. But just sitting here right now, after all the results we've had, I think you would say that this is probably most likely going to be England top. Then it's either USA or Iran in those middle 2 positions, with Wales being bottom. I think that's probably how you would realistically draw up the group at this point. But as we said, plenty more football to be played. It's hard to realise how insignificant we are in a large scheme of things, says William. Did you see Carlos Queiroz confronted a woman after she asked about Iran's issues? He snapped and said, "Why don't you ask Southgate about Afghanistan?" No. I didn't see him do that. Ask Southgate about Afghanistan. I'd love to see Southgate's answers about Afghanistan. I mean, that's... you see, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Because I've said this before. You've got issues. No country has got clean hands. No country has got clean hands. So if you do go down that political road, like this is going to be the response. This will be the response of Russia. This will be the response of Iran. Like, you're asking us about all these political questions. Well, what about all the stuff that's happened in the past? The only thing you would come back with is, well, that's in the past. Like, that's not happening now. Like, all of this is, you're talking about things that have happened 20 odd years ago. Like, you're talking about stuff that's a long, long time ago. Not that, it makes it any less significant as to, what happens. But the issues in Iran are right now. There's people being killed right now in Iran. And so, like, it's a different situation. We're talking about things that are happening now. It's another example of whataboutism. Well, what about this? It's a way of diverting the conversation, isn't it? It's a defense mechanism. It's a case of like, well, yeah, fine, but what about Iran? What about Afghanistan? What about what about this? What about that? It's a way of trying to divert the conversation. I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him because it's not his fault, is it? I've actually said the Iran team, I think, have carried themselves with great dignity because they refused to sing their national anthem. The captain spoke out, which is, how incredibly brave. Beyond brave to do that. It's not like if the USA spoke out about their president or if England spoke out about their prime minister. Like, if you're the Iranian team and you speak out about what's happening in Iran right now, I don't know what the repercussions are for when you get back home. Like, I don't know what the situation is because, of course, that woman didn't wear her headdress, her headwear. She was the rock climber, And obviously, she went missing, and there was big concern for her. And then there was a statement issued, and it was all sketchy. The whole thing was really sketchy. She doesn't wear the headdress, and then all of a sudden she goes missing when she gets back into the country. And there's, these statements saying, "Oh, I'm fine. No, everything's fine. I've just took a break from social media." And everyone's like, this doesn't feel fine. This doesn't feel fine. This doesn't feel good. So very, very brave, I thought, of the Iranian team to do that and make those statements. So no shade on Iran, and no shade on Carlos Queiroz either, because I can only imagine. I mean, all the questions that are being asked of me, all the questions that are being asked of German FA, the English FA, the armband situation. Like, this has been the most political World Cup I think I've ever seen. And to be honest, I've hated it. I'm sure you've hated it as well. Like, rather than talking about the footballers and the football and that side of the game, we've ended up talking so much about human rights and like loads of issues. Loads, obviously, in Qatar. But there's been conversations around Iran as well. And part of that comes from Russia being kicked out, but Iran being allowed to play. And I think the question was asked the other day, should Iran be kicked out because they're supporting Russia with weapons? So should they be kicked out? So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's been the most political World Cup, and I think it's really suffered for it. I think it's really sucked. I think sport has always risen above, like, politics. It's been an escape from politics. If you turn on the news, you just get smashed with politics, don't you? But sport is something that you can escape from, and people can sit down and just come together over. Sport's a unifier in a way. Different nations coming together to play the beautiful game, and this World Cup has certainly not reflected that. And maybe that shows itself with Carlos Queiroz kind of not lashing out, but clearly not answering the question and resorting to whataboutism instead. So my answer to it is I feel sorry for him. I can understand him wanting to divert the conversation. I think it's a bit stupid to say that, though, because we're talking about issues that are happening now and things that are going on and people that are being killed in Iran now, rather than like going, well, speak to the British about their empire and all this kind of stuff. Like, no country's got clean hands. No country has got clean hands. But this is why, like, FIFA have only got themselves to blame. If they never gave this World Cup to Qatar, then they wouldn't have invited all of this political talk, would they? If they had never given it to the Qatar and they'd given it to another nation, dare I say, a normal nation, then you wouldn't have this. I mean, there's big accusations that there's been bribery and that's how they got this. And the whole thing is dirty. The whole thing is seedy and dirty. And it's FIFA that's invited this. It's FIFA's fault that all these politics have come in. And now they're the ones that are going to have to deal with it and mop it up. They're the ones that, I should imagine, they just are banging their head against the brick wall. Every day there seems to be something new that's being brought up. But it's their own fault. All you can hope for is that it's cleaned up now and that the game is in a better place. But to be honest, some of the comments from FIFA recently have been abysmal, have been abhorrent, and don't really suggest that we're heading in the right direction. So, I don't know. I think if you've been into football for a while, I think FIFA has long been a dirty word. So at the end of the day, it's them that I blame. People need to acknowledge. Are you any snow today? No snow. Daniel said Qatar doesn't deserve to host. Conditions are horrible. The workers were dying. Human rights have been violated. And no beer. True. Very true. Yep. I mean, not only that, but it doesn't, from a sustainability, make any sense. I mean, you're talking about a very small place. I mean, all of these games are taking place basically in one city, right? And we've got how many stadiums? Like, that they've had to build? Like, what? Why? That you know that in 10 years there will be a what happened to all the stadiums in Qatar type articles doing the rounds, and we've been down this road before. I think the Olympics in Brazil were quite bad for sustainability. I think those Olympics, I've seen loads of articles where they just show you like a lot of those Olympic facilities just kind of, rusting away, just being unused, unloved, because there's no use for them. They were needed for the Olympics, and, there's this big carbon footprint as they were created, but there's no need for them afterwards. It's just a waste of time, a waste of money. I mean, the Brazilian people were up in arms with the amount of money that was being spent on the Olympics, because they needed that money, and instead it was going into infrastructure and stadiums and stuff like that. I mean, look, spending money on roads and things, that's always going to be useful, but it's not that useful if you're upgrading a train system to take people to a stadium that's never going to be used. So, and Qatar is just, I mean, they've got more money than sense, man. They've got more money than sense. They've got so much money that it's just nothing to them to just, build some stadiums. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. We'll have the World Cup. Yeah, whatever. What are you going to do with it after? I don't know. Host the World Cup again? We'll do that. Should we not use the biggest stage to help solve these issues? You're not going to solve the issues, mate. These issues aren't going to get solved. I mean, you can put a spotlight onto them and you can call them out, but I don't agree with using sport to use it for political reasons. I mean, I think if you want to do that, then the time to do it was during the bidding process. So if Qatar want to host the World Cup, then you can turn around and say, well, you can have the World Cup when you sort this, this, and this. Yeah. At the moment, we're not happy about the fact that this is where you stand with, LGBTQ rights. We're not happy about, your human rights record. Like, if you want the World Cup, you need to come back to us when that, and that is resolved, and then we'll have a conversation. So if you want to use sport for change, that would be the time to do it. But I think to give the country the World Cup and then why are we having conversations with football managers? Do you know what I mean? This is where it starts going wrong for me. We're talking to football managers about these big political issues. There's no resolution to be found there. Carlos Queiroz is not going to be changing anything in Iran. So this is not the right environment. This is not the right theatre for these conversations. Maybe at certain points in the bidding process, as we said, but to be asking flipping Jude Bellingham what he thinks about the Iranian, what's going on in Iran. Hey, Jude, what do you think about the human rights in Qatar? Well, what do you expect him to say? All he's going to say is he's just going to say some pre-prepared statement that the FA will have fed to him, and same to the other players, which is just going to be a standard line. Just, this is, say this, and then the conversation moves on. And that's it. I mean, these are deep political issues, and I don't think you're going to change the Iranian government's mind about supplying weapons to Russia by kicking them out of the World Cup, for example. So again, I don't think this is the right theatre to do that. I think sport has always been a way of bringing nations together. It's always been a way of, dare I say, encouraging dialogue that maybe wouldn't normally exist. It's always been a way of actually finding some degree of harmony, if you will. I mean, famously, the English and the Germans were playing football on Christmas Day during a war. They had a kick around. So, you look at stories like that, at bringing how it can bring people together. So all this politics, it just doesn't belong at the World Cup for me. Both teams have come out, by the way. We are about to get underway with this game. We have been talking a lot about politics, but I'm sorry to say there's no avoiding it. It's even now, there's it's always going to be brought up, and it really distracts from the game, and it really takes away from the enjoyment of the World Cup. And for me, there's people struggling around the world with cost of living and their own issues, and this is meant to be an escape from that as well. And now you get bombarded with you can't even enjoy this. So I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this frustrated that we've spent as long talking about the political stuff as what we have. But as I said, it's a conversation that has to be had, because it will always show itself throughout this World Cup. I expect to be sat here around the final having different conversations. All roads point back to FIFA for me. All roads go back to FIFA. Right, let's go. Let's see where we no man's land, said Tall Paul. Yeah, it's an amazing story, isn't it? I mean, there's loads of examples of that. Loads of examples where sport has been used to kind of bring people together that you wouldn't normally think would be able to coexist. And that's the power of sport. It's a very powerful weapon. It's a very powerful, I suppose weapon's not the word, but unifier. That's a better word. Right, let's go. We are going to focus on the football, and our focus on the football begins now. This is our first game that we're covering. There's been 2 games today. Iran beat Wales 2-0, and we saw Senegal beat Qatar, the host nations, 3-1. Now we go into this game. This is Netherlands, who I believe are ranked 8th in the world, taking on Ecuador, who are ranked 44th. Both teams victorious in their first game, and here they are colliding in the second game in their group. The winner here, I think I'm right in saying, will go top. In fact, both teams have currently played 2 and got 4 points because they're drawing this game at the moment. And they've both got +2 goal difference. Okay. Valencia, Netherlands picking up the ball, trying to find a way forward, and Ecuador are in blue. So we saw them in yellow before. They're wearing their away kit today. So they're in blue. They're going from right to left. Netherlands on the ball. They're going from left to right. And a couple of minutes gone into this game already. I'm quite happy to talk about... I'm happy to talk about anything, as you know. But, if people do want to use this time to preview the England-USA game, I know the excitement is all around that. My hope, actually, is that we just don't get loads of added on time, because I'm hoping that we just can end this stream and go straight into England-USA. I was even tempted to have this as USA-England themed and have the thumbnail and not actually go anywhere. Just finish this game, go straight into England-USA, but I thought I thought we might as well just do it this way. I think people that normally join us will join us for this stream anyway, so I don't think it would have made any difference. But I was tempted to do that. But as soon as this is done, we will immediately shut it down and just go. I'm not even going to get a coffee. I'm just going to go straight down, straight in. So it should be mere moments between the streams. Ball is back with Ecuador, goes all the way back to the goalkeeper. Can we talk about UK boobs? Go for it. I don't have much in the way of an opinion in regards to UK boobs. I think that's pretty much the same as US boobs. Maybe US boobs are, dare I say, as a percentage more surgically enhanced. I'm looking at you, LA. Yeah? I'm looking at you, Real Housewives. I feel like there's certainly a demographic in the USA that leans that way. But saying that, we've got Essex, which is very similar, to be honest. Very similar. So it's hard to know. It's really hard to know. I feel like they're going to be very similar, William, just to round off that conversation. Very similar. James said, do you think I have overdone it with England players having Saka, Bellingham and Kane? I think that you might struggle with the group stage just because I can't see them beating USA by 6 goals and beating Wales by 6 goals. I think that was, I don't want to say an exception, but I think that was exceptional. And I think that, today could be 2-0. Well, if today's 2-0, are you going to get Kane scoring? Are you going to get Saka scoring? Perhaps Saka scored the other day. He doesn't pop up with anything today. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you've overdone it. I think you can be. I think you can go in with confidence that England should qualify, and it's just going to be helpful, isn't it, to have those players. I suppose you've got unlimited transfers, haven't you? That's the only thing. I was going to say it'd be useful having those players for the knockout rounds, but once you get to the knockout rounds, you can completely change your team. So this is where I think you just need to dial in with those that are most likely to score. And when it comes to England, you don't know if it's Saka, Bellingham, or Kane. It could be any of them. I don't think it's going to be all of them again like it was in the first game. Kane getting 2 assists, of course. Didn't score, but got 2 assists. Saka getting 2 goals. Bellingham getting a goal. But as I said, we did get 6 goals. I don't think we're doing that against USA, and I don't think we're doing that against Wales. So, I don't know. It's a gamble. It's a gamble. But I suppose it could be clever in a way. Shot in. Is it in? Oh, it's in. It's in for Netherlands. Gakpo scores. Gakpo with an absolute missile. So Gakpo scores for Netherlands. They just managed to get inside the penalty area. Took a shot, rifled it home. And Gakpo is someone that's been very popular in the game. James was saying the other day that Man United have apparently pretty much got it done, that they're going to be signing Gakpo. My concern is, look at that finish, though. I mean, I tell you what, you look at that and you just think, well, look at that finish. That is, look at that finish. That is absolutely beautiful. It is so, is the leading goal scorer in the Dutch league. Here he's lining up in that front row. And that is a true finish. I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking out loud. I think he's on his way to United. Where do United play him? Are they going to put him in the 9? Because what I just saw there was one hell of a finish. Days, who do you think is the most underrated player? I think it's Vinny Jr., says Ace. Underrated player. Well, I don't think it's Vinny, because I don't think Vinny's underrated. I think Vinny is very rated. But you are right. Vinny is a fantastic player. But how does he compare to some players from the smaller teams? I feel like we need to see a bit more. I mean, for example, if Valencia gets some goals here or scores here, then no one... I mean, Valencia was not on my radar. He got 2 goals in the first game. And could have been 3, but the third was disallowed. So if he's going to score here, then this Valencia looks quite tasty. I mean, you can't judge people on just a few performances, but I'm presuming we're just talking about the World Cup. So going into the World Cup, he was not on my radar. But in the first game, he scores 2. And now, if he gets a goal here against the Dutch, then all of a sudden we're talking about someone that's come from nowhere, really, to be one of the top scorers in this competition. He scored 2 goals, and as I said, it would have been a hat-trick, but that offside that everyone was like, huh? In the very first game between... Well, it's very first game, wasn't it, between Ecuador and Qatar? He might be someone that would be on that radar. I want to have a look and see who the top scorers are at the moment. Top goal scorers, World Cup 2022. But I mean, look, yeah, Vinny's a great player. I just don't know that he's underrated. So far, Richarlison is on 2 goals. Giroud is on 2 goals. Taremi of Iran is on 2 goals. Ferran Torres is on 2 goals. Valencia is on 2 goals. And Saka is on 2 goals. So, I mean, Taremi, for example, for Iran, could he be in the conversation? He's picked up a couple of goals so far. He's right up there with the leaders. Granted, he's played 2 games compared to everyone else here that's pretty much only played 1. But he is joint first at the moment. So everyone that scored the most goals is on 2 goals at the moment. That's the most anyone has scored. So if Valencia scores here, he will be the outright leader in regards to the Golden Boot. Do you... What exactly? We probably play Rashford up front with Gakpo on the left, said James. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I think Rashford does better up front. Gakpo, I'm guessing, definitely can play on the wing. But, I mean, here he seems to be playing, as a forwards. And that finish was fire from him, just very impressive. 10 minutes gone, 1-0. Gakpo scoring with Klaassen getting the assist. Taremi plays for Porto, said Hamad. Well, he is someone then that, again, might have come in as being underrated. See, when I think underrated, and I've spoke about this quite a few times, I think underrated is very hard to talk about. I get asked a lot, who's the most underrated wrestler? And it's like, well, how do you answer that? Because how are people rated? It's subjective, isn't it? Shot coming in, bouncing up, headed away by the Dutch. So for me, I think it needs to be someone from if they're underrated, it needs to be someone that we weren't aware of. They weren't on our radar coming into this tournament. So for me, that kind of eliminates Brazil. That eliminates Saka. I don't think Bellingham was underrated, even though, we haven't seen him loads in an England shirt. I think we knew going into this World Cup that he was highlighted as a player that could light it up. Pedri, Gavi, they were names that we were aware of going into this World Cup for Spain. Gakpo was a name we were aware of. United almost signed him in the summer, but ended up going for Anthony instead. So, these are names that have been on the radar, they've been spoken about, but to be honest, I haven't heard anything about this Valencia, and it might have just been a one-off performance. Taremi for Iran as well. Again, that's a name that wasn't really on the radar. I really want to see Japan again. I really want to see Japan. I must admit, I felt they played well as a team rather than individuals, so I can't really pull out any names. But maybe someone will show themselves by the time we get to their second game. All of a sudden then, someone puts a couple of good performances, really good performances in, or gets a couple of goals, or gets a couple of assists, and starts to just move ahead of the pack. I kind of feel at the moment Japan played so well as a team, and I was swooning about Japan earlier. I don't know if anyone's really shown themselves as an individual yet. Obviously, if you feel different, put it in the chat. I mean, it's interesting to know people's thoughts and opinions, and feel free to let us know who you think has been the underrated star of this World Cup so far. But maybe you'd look at Saudi Arabia. Maybe you would look at Saudi Arabia and you'd look at some of their players after what they managed to do. But again, with only one game in the bag, was that a fluke? Was that just a fluke? Or are they going to repeat it? Are they going to do it again? I suppose the same can be said with Valencia. Same can be said with Japan. Was it just a fluke? I suppose what we need to see is we need to get a couple of performances in the bag so that we can then see if the consistency is there. Ball going all the way back to the Ecuador goalkeeper. And Ecuador finding themselves goal behind here. Netherlands on the ball. They're enjoying quite a bit of the ball, in all fairness. Looking at expected goals at the moment, though, it's been one shot, one goal. That's a lovely work there by Klaassen just to leave it. Gakpo hits it. And the ball speed. There's no information on screen. Oh, look at it. Just it curls in as well. It's absolutely beautiful shot. It's a beautiful shot. Yeah. Well, listen, I hope United have got that deal done because there's a few more noughts on his transfer. If not, ball bouncing around, goes all the way back. Here come Ecuador driving forwards. Valencia on the ball. Gets past his man. Going down that... Oh, trying to get past that other defender. I think he just tried to bite off a little bit too much there, Valencia. But yeah, XG at the moment is 0.04. So looking at the numbers and the stats, doesn't suggest that Netherlands really should be ahead. The numbers at the moment sort of suggest that it's a very even game. Expected goals 0.04 for the Dutch, 0.05 for Ecuador. So nothing in this game really. Ecuador are even showing a little bit more ball possession right now, but just a hell of a finish by Gakpo is what separates the two teams at the moment. Nunes is overrated, says Cal. Mark said we need to wait a few games and then we'll get a good idea. Yeah. I think it's a fun question though, after we've seen that first round of games. So after that first round of games, who would you say has been like the most underrated player? I think it's a fun question, but I think to get a real good answer, you do need to get a couple of games at least in the bag just to check on the consistency. Did you see that David on the bench? He is about to start in the next Men in Black movie. I didn't. No, I didn't see him. I know he is there. They showed him at the on the bench in the first game for the Dutch. Edgar Davids, man. I mean, amazing. Used to play with glasses on because of he had a condition with his eyes, didn't he? He used to have to play wearing glasses, and it really made him stand out on the pitch. And yeah, he's brilliant. He was a great midfielder. I think I want to say he was at Euro 96. I want to say he played for the Dutch in 96. Feel like that's when I first saw him. If not, it would have been 98 at the World Cup. But yeah, just one of those kind of great names from the past. Like Ruud Gullit. Do you remember Ruud Gullit when he used to play? And he had the big hair. There were some real characters back in the day. Some real characters. Ball going all the way back to the Dutch defence. They're just playing it into the centre. Legend, said Undercover Manager. Nunes is basically a Walmart Suarez. Always nice to see you accompany UFC events and football. Vicky, shout out to you. I hope you are well. Nor Wrestling Pod said, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm so excited for the game between England and USA. I'm excited for it, which is really, really good. I'm not nervous. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think that first result has just filled me with so much confidence that, the team are in a good place at the moment. So, hopefully a win today. I think a win today, would I be right in saying a win today, would definitely confirm that England go through. I'm trying to think if that's true. If England win today, that puts them on 6 points. USA would be on 1 point. The most they could get is 4. So USA couldn't top the group. Wales, a win for them would be 4. So they wouldn't top the group. So a win today would put England through. A win today would put England through. I don't think it confirms them as group winners because Iran might still be able to top the group, thinking about it. Because if Iran beat USA in the final game and England lose to Wales, that would put Iran on 6 points and it would put England on 6 points. And I think the first thing that separates them is goal difference. So if Iran had better goal difference, I think they would top the group. So a win today wouldn't confirm England being top. But it would confirm qualification. So I'm hoping England can do that. And of course, many of our American friends are going to be hoping that the USA can get something out of the game today. Either way, you are going to need to beat Iran. You are going to need to get a result against Iran, USA. So yes, you need something against England, but you are going to need something against Iran. USA played good soccer, said the game. It's crazy to think that David's played in League 2 for Barnet. Yeah, I don't know the story behind that. Was it just a one-off appearance? It's funny because I was reading a story the other day. I think, was it... can't even remember who it was now. I want to say Socrates or someone, a Brazilian legend, definitely. Went to a non-league side and played a game for a non-league side in like 2005. It was like it was some sort of arrangement to promote a charity or something, but he ended up playing non-league football, came on as a sub and played for him, and he's like a World Cup winner and everything. You do get those funny little stories. But yeah, I do remember David's going and playing in. I couldn't have told you who for. No way could I have told you who for, but I do remember him going down and playing. Is Wales statistically out? Wales are not statistically out. They're on 1 point. So at the moment, we can look at the group, actually. There's just a little foul here. There's just a little break in play. So let's just have a look at that group. Let's have a look at the standings. So is that showing on screen? Yeah, well, kind of. So England are currently leading the group with 3 points. Iran are second on 3 points. And then you've got USA and Wales. So Wales need to beat England. I mean, that's definite. So if Wales beat England, they will get 4 points. They will be on 4 points. If England win today, they'll be on 6. So England will definitely finish ahead of Wales if they win today. So Wales are battling for that other position. If England win today, USA will stay on 1 point. What do you need? You need England to win today. And you need USA and Iran to draw. If USA and Iran draw their next game, if England win today, that puts them on 6 points, right? If USA and Iran draw, that means USA finish on 2 points and Iran would be on 4 points. And then you need to beat England, and then you would be on 4 points. And you would need to make sure your goal difference was better. So what you need is quite a few things to go your way, but they could go your way. You need England to win tonight, which they are favourites to do. You then need Iran and USA to draw, which could happen. Absolutely, that could happen. That would only give each team 1 point. And then Wales need to beat England, and they need to beat England. They just need to beat England, to be honest. Because if Iran and USA draw, that won't change the goal difference. And if Wales beat England, they will have a better goal difference than Iran. So you just need to beat England. That'll be the problem, though. You need to beat England. A draw would not be good enough. You would have to beat England. So Wales are not out, but they have to beat England. And I think they need a draw in the other game. Right. Let's go back to this game. Let's just have a little look at the stats, shall we? 50-50 is where we are. So we've had 23 minutes gone. Both teams have had 50% possession. Both teams have had one shot. Only the Netherlands have had that shot on target. They scored from it. It's a wonderful finish by Gakpo. Here comes Ecuador, though. Ecuador playing the ball in the middle, and it's cleared. Edge of the area. Shot is blocked. it. And Netherlands looking to bring the ball out. Ball being played in the middle. Lovely link-up play. Here's Ecuador into the penalty area. It's pulled back. Good tackle. I think that was Big Virgil van Dijk, was it? Look like, yeah, it's Big Verge. Big Verge. That's a lovely little triangle there that's just set Ecuador free, but Big Verge getting a foot on it. Clearing the ball. Ecuador putting a bit of pressure on at the moment. Their XG is still just that little bit ahead of Netherlands, but there's nothing in it. Really, what that's telling us is that this game should still be 0-0. Here come Ecuador, though, down the line. That's a lovely ball. Whipping it. Oh, keeping it low. Kept it low. That was not a good cross. Needed to do much better. I love these quick passes, though. These quick passes are so good from Ecuador to the back, and it's cleared by the Netherlands. I mean, we are seeing some passing and moving in the corner that is just electric by Ecuador. They are just really playing some great triangles, just really using three players well, pinging the ball around, getting around players, creating some space. That then means that they can get a cross in. And the first cross that came in was kept low and it was cleared easily by the Netherlands. The other cross that came in was high and looping, and that was headed away by the Netherlands. But Ecuador asking a few questions of this Dutch defence. And I tell you, I mean, look, whoever finishes top of the England, USA, Wales, Iran group, they are going to seemingly play either Senegal or Ecuador, and neither of those games is going to be easy. Ecuador are showing here that they've got some players, and they are asking some questions of this Dutch defence. My older brother thought USA was in Europe, says Edward. Elon is a liar. He said he wouldn't cause chaos on Twitter. Oh, do you know, I'm so annoyed at that. My one account is suspended because of sharing links to these watch-alongs. The system thinks that they are links to the actual matches. So as a result, they've been flagged, I think, by an algorithm, and so the account has been suspended. So really flipping annoying. And then last night, as we were streaming, I tried to go onto my second account, the one that I'm using now that the other one's suspended, and it said that that has been locked because of counterfeit goods. Counterfeit goods. Counterfeit goods. So I looked at it. I appealed it. I haven't heard anything. I've still not heard anything about the suspended account. I've still not heard anything about why this one was locked. But I clicked on it, and it says, if you delete this tweet, we will unlock your account. But by deleting it, you are accepting responsibility that you did something wrong, basically. Ball going across along the Dutch penalty area. And it bounces out. Looks like it's going to be a corner. Ecuador are looking really good here, you know. Ecuador have really got the bit between their teeth. So, yeah, it said if you delete this tweet, we'll unlock your account, but you are accepting responsibility. And I was like, I'm not going to do that, man. I have not done anything wrong. So I appealed it. But the problem is, we've got Survivor Series this weekend. It's the last big show. Like, I really need my Twitter account to share any videos that happen. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, at least, even if I can't share the link to the stream, at least let people know that we are streaming live. Come and join us for Survivor Series. Like, I really could do with my Twitter accounts for that. So I've accepted it. I've just said fine, whatever. Which I'm really, I don't feel brilliant about it, because the tweet that had to get deleted was a link to one of these streams. So I think when they say counterfeit, I don't really know what they mean. It's a link to this watch along, and it says no copyright content at the top of it as well, and it says watch along in there. It's a live stream watch along of this game. It's an algorithm. It's clearly not a person. It's an algorithm that's picked up on it. And yeah, it's carnage. It's absolute carnage. And it really sucks. But I need my account for Survivor Series. So I think what's quite clear is I can't share links anymore to streams. I should be able to share links to videos. I don't think that'll be a problem. But I think links to these watch-alongs, the algorithm now is, I don't know. I mean, there's been changes clearly, and now it seems like it can't tell. It doesn't know. I mean, like, how would it know? I don't know. This is the problem, isn't it? Like, you can put no copyright content, you can put watch-along, but an algorithm is not going to know, is it? There's no humans there anymore, is there? They've all done one. Ball, so I don't even know when my appeal would have been answered. I mean, honestly, who knows? Who knows if it would ever have been answered? I've got no idea. Here's the Dutch. Ecuador losing the ball on the edge of their area. The Dutch really trying to drive forwards. Ball coming over to that left-hand side. Whipped in the middle, and Ecuador clearing it away. Past 10 minutes, I would say the first 20 minutes, this game was really dull. And the only thing that separated them was the one shot from Gakpo that was stunning and he scored. But yeah, these last 5 to 10 minutes, we've seen Ecuador pushing up, some wonderful work in the corners, whipping the ball into the centre, probing both wings, or pushing and shoving here. Bit of pushing and shoving. The Dutch are in trying to... he's going to have to be careful there, in all fairness. The Ecuador player. Ball is cleared. It was not a good cross. Perozo was really getting stuck in with some of the Dutch players there from that corner. But nothing came of it. And right now, Dutch have got the ball back in their own half. Ecuador are going to be all right as long as this just stays at 1-0. If this just stays at 1-0, even at half-time, that, you know, we've seen teams go 1 goal back and come back from it. 1 goal is not going to be much. So as long as they can just maintain this. Days, according to Ringside News, there's a belief that Vince is still involved with WWE. I'll have to read that. I mean, he is still a shareholder, and it would not surprise me in the slightest that he was advising Steph. I mean, I don't think anyone thinks he's just completely gone. Steph's going to constantly be turning to him for advice. What do you think about this? What should we do with this? I see him as an advisor. I see him as someone that's going to be right up there with Steph, working from home, making sure that the business doesn't collapse. I mean, he does not want WWE collapsing because all of his wealth. I mean, not only did he build it, and I can't imagine he wants to see it die, but not only that, but all of his wealth is tied up in it. His family still work there. Obviously, Steph and Hunter, and, you know, I'd imagine Shane has still got the ability to come back. And shot. Oh, good save. Really good save. That shot just outside the penalty area. So I'll have to have a look at that article, see what they're saying he's doing. That's Valencia, you know. Look at that shot by Valencia. Look at that. It's a big, strong hand. Yeah. Ali McCoy said, really good save. It's one that he should make. But, yeah, big, strong hand there by the Dutch keeper, Valencia, with the shot. Ball being whipped into the centre, headed clear by the Dutch. Here's Ecuador again, playing the ball over to the left-hand side, headed clear by the Dutch. I mean, like, Ecuador, I genuinely think have looked the better team here. Ecuador, I mean, like, if you look at the amount of opportunities that they have been creating, they haven't actually resulted in shots. They're still only 3 shots to 1, but they have been creating more. I feel like we've been in the Dutch half more. The Dutch have only had the 1 shot on target, which was the goal. So I feel like Ecuador have played slightly the better here. That shows, doesn't it? I mean, look, the Dutch have got wonderful players, but Ecuador are the team that are seemingly playing just that little better. Here come the Dutch playing it over to that left-hand side, down the line. Ball goes out of play. Legend Killer said, come on, Netherlands. Clearly, Vince's scripts, says Rotem. Steve said, LA Knight gave Bray a 2-for-1 slap last week. Is he going to give him a Black Friday deal today? Not. I couldn't find much in the Black Friday sales, you know. There was a few things I was keeping an eye out for, and none of them got marked down. So, a little bit disappointed in the Black Friday sales. I don't know if you lot have found anything good. Certainly plenty on offer at Amazon, but nothing that's grabbed my attention. To be honest, nothing that's grabbed my attention. Ball being played forward, down the line, and runs out of play. Do you want me to send it to you? You can do. You can send it over onto the Twitter. I'll try and check it. As I said, I have unlocked that account now, begrudgingly. Several were fired. No one will get back to you until all the spots are filled, said AEW fan. Oh, it's a mess, man. It's a real mess. I mean, part of me, I understand what he's trying to do. I understand that there's a lot of, you know, like fake links that get put up and a lot of stuff that could do with getting cleaned up. And I suppose if ever you're going to try and attempt to do that, there's going to be people that get caught in the crossfire. And I just feel like I've been caught in the crossfire. So I get it. It's just really flipping, obviously annoying. Maybe even if I could just get my old account back, just so that I can share links to videos and share a few thoughts. I mean, that's all I use Twitter for, to be honest. I think if I had a big Twitter account, do you know what I mean? Like 50,000, 60,000 kind of followers, it would feel a lot more significant. But I've never really done much with Twitter, so I don't know. I think my concern is that if people only joined us once in a while, like, and maybe aren't subbed to the channel, maybe they don't find the videos now. That would only be my concern. Ball coming over to the right-hand side. Ball going down the line and goes out of play. Mohammed, shout out to you. AEW fan said, Sean Ross Sapp, Observer, WrestleVotes, PW Insider, they're the only things you need. Rotem said, if Dutch are playing now, are we going to get Vincent later tonight? Cal L Cool J said, if football teams had entrance themes, Saudi Arabia would have Shane McMahon, here comes the money. Here come the money. Very good. Ecuador. There's a song called Ecuador, actually. Ecuador. They would have that. Surely England would have It's Coming Home, Three Lions, you'd have to think. Or maybe Sweet Caroline. I mean, we've really taken to that. What do you think USA would have? And Canada? I think USA might have Friday by their greatest ever singer, Rebecca Black. It's Friday, Friday. And it is? Come on down, it's Friday. Footballing, yeah. Footballing, yeah. Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. Gonna put my hands up, play my song, butterflies go away, yeah. There's a party in the USA. Yeah, I reckon USA would have that. England will have Sweet Caroline. USA will have Party in the USA. Canada? Don't know, what would Canada have? Tackle. Did you hear about Brock Gunther at Mania? No. If there's been any rumours today, I've not yet seen them. I won't catch up until we get closer to SmackDown. That's my plan. My plan is to have something to eat and then kind of catch up on all the day's news so that when we get to the SmackDown stream, we know what we're talking about. I do try. Ball going down that left-hand side for Ecuador. This has been in the middle of the park, but Ecuador playing it into the centre. Ecuador obviously seeing Senegal win earlier, know that they really could do with a result here. Ball goes down. Bergwijn gets fouled. Elon probably thought you didn't have permission to show those items. People have shown counterfeit items before. but we know you did nothing wrong. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know what items I showed. Oh, the ones on the Christmas tree thing. Yeah, I don't know that was the problem now, because the tweet it said I had to delete was a tweet to a football match. It said if you delete this, then you can have your account back. And I clicked on what the tweet was, expecting it to be the Christmas tree ones, because that's, what I think counterfeit suggests to me. But it wasn't. It was actually a link to a football game. So, I don't know. Apparently these are counterfeit streams. I think what it is it thinks this is a real game. That's what it thinks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would have to use a different image or something. I don't know. I really don't know. Ball in the middle of the park. And the bottom line is the algorithm thinks it's a link to a real game. That's what it thinks. I don't know. There's a way around that, but maybe I would just have to not share links to streams. Maybe like when it comes to streams, I'd just have to let you know, right, we're live, and that's it. Jump onto the YouTube channel. I did think, what if I shared a link to the YouTube channel, not to the video? What if I was to do that instead? Don't know. Again, I don't know what the algorithm's looking for. I mean, I have no idea. If I say we're live, doing a watch along for SmackDown, and here's a link to my YouTube channel, does that get flagged? I don't know. I really don't know. I wouldn't know unless I tried it. Throw into Ecuador. USA will surely have born in the USA. Yeah. Born in the USA. Is it possible to use Tommy's Twitter? Does he know what happened? Maybe he would let you tweet out. I wouldn't. I don't need Tommy's, to be honest. I mean, I've got this second account which was locked, and I've now unlocked it. And if that goes down, I've got the Wrestling Escape Pods one, which I would claim. I don't think Tommy would mind if I took that over, because we don't use it that much. So I would claim that, to be honest. And failing that, I mean, I could always just get a new email address and create a brand new account anyway. So, I mean, the whole thing's redundant in a way. Do you know what I mean? There's no way of stopping me going onto Twitter. The only thing you can do is just continually make me start again. There is Davids with his black men in black shades on. Ball being played forward by Ecuador, trying to go down that left-hand side. Playing it into the middle. Ecuador have looked pretty good, as we said. 4 shots, 1 on target. Lovely through ball, but keeper is out and claims it. 1-0. I don't think Ecuador will be too down on that. They've had chances. Ball being played back to the keeper. He launches it forwards. Ball bouncing around. Did you know Dave legitimately hasn't had a vacation in a decade? Who? Dave Meltzer? I could believe that. Just joined, but do you not know, have no copyright on top of your tweets? Why would that happen? I don't believe it's a person. I believe it's an algorithm, and who knows, without knowing, what the algorithm is looking for, who knows? I mean, the algorithm could just be looking for the word live. The word live and anything to do with the World Cup. It might just be looking for that, and it might just be taking them down. So it doesn't matter that it says no copyright content. It doesn't matter that it says watch along. It doesn't matter that it's not actually a link to an actual game. None of that matters. The algorithm is just looking for a certain few key indicators. So it's annoying. It really is annoying, but it is what it is. Ball being played into the middle, straight into the hands of the Ecuador goalkeeper. The Twitter bot is confused. Experience will beat USA today. It's going to be a good match, though, said Three Pumps. Shout out to you, buds. I got a new Chromebook for 129. It was originally 345. Oh, well, that's good. That's very good. That's very good. Sir Tackle. That's the reason, then it's James Dorsey's fault. He's made the current algorithm. Oh, wow. Yeah, I blame him. The only thing is, though, I mean, I don't know who that is, but it's only been since Elon took over. So he's not getting off the hook on this one. Because it's not been a problem until Elon took over. Trying to go forward there, the Ecuadorian player, Plata, but no joy. And the Dutch get the ball, and they're countering. Plenty of Ecuador players back, though. 3 defenders back, ball bouncing around, and it goes out of play. Why did you ignore me, says Deanna. Not ignoring you. Just trying to read whatever comments I can read whilst watching the game. Hawkins said, sorry for the obvious answer to a question. I'm not a regular watcher. Is the reason the goalkeeper wear a different colour to easily distinguish? Yes. Yep. It's just so that, like, if someone comes out and grabs the ball with their hands, you know that it's the goalkeeper. So, yeah, it is exactly for that reason. Not a stupid question. It's kind of interesting, actually, where people don't normally watch football. The sort of stuff that jumps out, you know? As like, oh, I'm not sure about this. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, that is the reason. USA have Childish Gambino. This is America, yeah, but I don't want them to have anything cool. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it should be "Party in the USA" by Miley Cyrus. He's the old CEO before Elon became this CEO. Also, they could ban you, but not likely, says Michael. They could ban you. But my account's been suspended. If they ban me, would that mean that there's no way of creating a new account even with... do they ban your IP or something? Could you not get around that with VPN? Or a different computer? I don't know. I don't even need to worry about it. I mean, as I said, the one account's suspended and it's been appealed. I've just got to hope one day someone reads the appeal and actually does something about it. Ecuador have got a free kick. We're deep into the added-on time. There's only 3 minutes added-on time here. So Ecuador are going to look to whip this ball in. Plenty of players on the edge of the area. So ball is in, high, headed towards goal and just wide. Just wide. Both sets of players wanting some for it. Obviously, Netherlands want a goal kick. Ecuador want the corner. Think it's a corner. Is it a corner? It's hard to know who gets the touch. Ball is up in the air and it comes off a Dutch player. Comes off a Dutch player, so that should be a corner. So it is going to be a corner. To Ecuador. Referee just having a word. There's Ecuador, 3 Ecuador players all in a row. Looks like they've worked on something here. 3 Ecuador players all in a row. Ball whipped in. Oh, shot. Oh, it's in by Ecuador. Ecuador. Wow, they deserve it. Not going to count. Not going to count. Oh, flag is raised. Flag is raised. The flag went up, so apparently he was offside. Let's have a look. Let's see. Was he offside? There's got to be 2 Dutch players. He's not offside. Are they saying he was interfering with play? There is a player offside. Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's controversial. It's controversial because the player that scores is not offside, but there is a player offside that I think they have deemed as being interfering with play because he was kind of blocking the sight of the goalkeeper. And there we go, end of the half. So 1-0 controversy right at the end. Wow, controversy. Wow. Wow. Long Beach Hippie, shout out to you. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, we've got an offside there. So you've got to have, when the ball is played into you, you've got to have two Dutch players between you and the goal, right? You've got to have two Dutch players between you and the goal. Now, when the ball, one of them can be the goalkeeper, so you need another player, right? When the ball is played into the person that scored, he had that. He had the goalkeeper, and there was another Dutch player just slightly ahead of him. So he was fine. He was onside. There is a player, though, that is offside. He doesn't have that. But I don't think he touches the ball. I don't think, like, you could take him away, and that goal would still have been scored. But the problem is he seems to be blocking the sight of the goalkeeper. It's probably, like, you know, a bit... You could definitely make the argument that, like, the keeper can't see. There's no way the keeper can see what's happening with the ball because the player's blocking his sight. I think it's going to be on that, you know. I think they've deemed that he's interfering in play. I hate the offside rule. He's not purposefully blocking the keeper, says Mason. Ecuador were better, said Rotem. Half-time, 1-0 to Netherlands. Yeah. 1-0 Netherlands. They are lucky, to be honest. They are lucky. And Ecuador are looking like a decent little team here. Looking like a decent little team. And as I said, you know, I think we are really looking at Netherlands probably topping this group, but England seemingly are going to have to play this Ecuador team if they do top the group. If England finish first and Ecuador are second, it's Ecuador that England are going to have to play. And they look a decent side. Like, they are really sticking it to the Dutch. They are really going at Netherlands here. 6 shots for Ecuador. 1 shot for the Dutch. They've had 1 shot. It was on target, and it was the goal. And again, if you look at expected goals, the Dutch are 0.04 and Ecuador are 0.35. So according to expected goals, like, Ecuador are expected to have scored and the Dutch are not expected to have scored. So really, you could say that this should be 1-0 Ecuador if we were going to be fair. 0-0 or 1-0 to Ecuador. Netherlands lead in this is against the run of play. We've got a bit of lag. Okay, little bit of lag, but it's back. It's back. The goalie was the wrong way, said Bonkers. Halftime scores. 1-0. 1-0 halftime scores. Ecuador could well be a type of team that surprises and makes a quarterfinal or semi with upsets, says Spencer. And that is a concern, to be honest, because if they do, it will come at the expense of England. I mean, look, you're going to have to play good teams in the next rounds. You're going to have to play good teams. And Ecuador look all right here, you know. I mean, right now, to be perfectly truthful, having watched the Dutch twice, I don't know that playing the Dutch in the next round is that scary. Like, you know, you kind of look at it going, God, I hope we avoid the Dutch. I really hope we avoid the Dutch. Because you look at their players, you know, Gakpo, Dumfries, Frankie de Jong, Virgil van Dijk, Memphis Depay up front, Bergwijn. Like, they've got some decent players that play in the Premier League, in top leagues. That you know, they've got good name recognition. Basically, they're names that we're familiar with. But you watch them and not that good, are they? Not that good. I mean, they struggled against Senegal, which there's no shade in that. There's no problem with them struggling against Senegal, because Senegal are a decent team. But now they're struggling against Ecuador as well, which, again, maybe it's just a case that these are decent sides. But I don't think there's really anything to fear in facing the Dutch. The reason why I say that is because whoever finishes second in the group, they might have to face the Dutch. If USA finish second, then and Netherlands finish first, honestly, if USA nicely got a bit of confidence after qualifying, some of their players are a bit more healed, they've had a bit more time to recover, some of those injury concerns have been shook off. USA against Netherlands, I don't think is a straightforward win for the Dutch at all. Ryan said, "Good morning. Here's to a good game between USA and England." Yep, shout out to you. Shout out to USA. As we said, we're going to be watching it. Looking forward to the game, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of banter in the chat. You'll get no banter from me. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. But yeah, here's hoping for a good game, fun game, and hopefully nothing too controversial. I think it'd be really. Imagine if, like, I don't know, England win 1-0 with a real controversial late penalty. Like, I think that'd be a real shame. Do you know what I mean? I think that'd be a real shame. It'd be great for England to just get the 3 points. But, like, oh, God, that's a conversation that's going to continue to rage for a little while. Do you know what I mean? I think I just really want it to be a case that the game happens, the result's done, and then we move on. I don't think we need to bang on about it. We can just, the result's done and we can move on. And if there's going to be something that's just going to niggle, there's going to be something that's going to be a big talking point, like, that might show itself after the game. Do you think WWE will go on autopilot? Yeah, we were talking about that. I said that I'm a bit torn as to if it's good or bad that they don't have a show in December, because I think it's good we don't have a go-home show, because I think, look, traditionally they're rubbish. So it's nice we don't have that to worry about, but equally, we need the shows to have matches that you would normally see at a premium live event. You know what I mean? Roman needs to defend his title on a SmackDown, and Ronda needs to defend, and Bianca needs to defend. So if we're going to use December to have some title defenses, and we're going to have some returns, and they're going to be shows that have got some real meaning to them, and they're going to create new feuds and push the story forwards, then fantastic. That is what I want. That would be brilliant. Really good, gripping, engaging TV throughout the whole of December would be absolutely fantastic. I would love that. Because, we're getting closer to Christmas, and people are busy. They've got family things coming up and all this kind of stuff. You want to sit down and be entertained. You want to sit down and watch. If you're going to give your time to a show, you're going to want to sit down and really enjoy it and be entertained by it. And that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I don't want December to be treading water. I don't want it to be a case that let's just get through to the Rumble. Let's just get through to the end of the year. Let's just get through. No, let's just get through. Let's have a really good December. Let's have a really good December with some good matches, matches that are maybe not in the conversation for match of the year, but, some of the stronger matches that we've seen on SmackDown and Raw this year. And let's have some title matches, and let's have some surprises, and let's create some new storylines, and, let's do some White Rabbit stuff. I mean, obviously not White Rabbit, but, the QR code stuff was so interesting. Give me something like that that's as interesting. Give me some stuff in the background of the scenes and whatever, give me that stuff. So I honestly don't know which way it goes. I mean, obviously we're learning new stuff all the time under this Triple H regime, So hopefully, I mean, if it was Vince, I'd be very confident it'd be a flat December. But under Triple H, got high hopes, high hopes. So I'm hoping it's going to be good. They should do something like AEW do and make a special show, like a Christmas theme show, instead of very Irish potato. My only concern with that is that if you do a Christmas theme show, you're going to get things like Miracle on 34th Street fight, which we've seen so many times, and it's normally god awful. You know, it's the same sort of matches where they have pumpkins around the edge of the ring and a table full of candy, and I don't know. I feel like that appeals to like the kids, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I think you could make, if you did a theme show like that, you could make it fun and funny. But I do worry that sometimes those shows just sort of slip into childish humor and things more visually for children. Which, you know, you've got to cater for kids, and WWE has always been great at doing that, but I want something that's going to cater for everyone. I want some good, interesting stories, you know, some surprises and all that kind of stuff. So, look, maybe if we get a bit of Christmas-themed stuff, which I'm sure we will, and I'm not against it, but if we get a bit of that, then hopefully we get a bit of the good stuff as well. Or at least, if you're going to give me some Christmas humor, like, I don't know, R-Truth dressed as Santa, at least please make it funny. Please make it funny. You know, there's some stuff going on at the moment I'm not sure is that funny. Like, Riddle with his bongos doesn't really do it for me. Like, that kind of humor. Like, you know, seeing Riddle backstage with, like, Alpha Academy, you just sort of go like, oh, don't need this segment. I don't need this segment. And I'd worry that a Christmas episode would just be a load of that. But let's see. Let's see. I'm hopeful. We are at half-time, by the way. Days December will just be like last year. It's going to be flat. If Roman faces Rock, it means Roman is going to leave WrestleMania with the titles. Honestly, Luz, do you think Bray has a shout? Bray's got a shout to win the belts after WrestleMania, yeah. I don't know that he needs to. I don't know if Bray fans even want him to be honest, really. I think, like, Bray fans just want him to, like, be involved in some really interesting stories. I think Bray fans love the Easter eggs and they love the mystery and all that stuff. So I think as long as he's given them that, I think a lot of Bray fans will be satisfied. There's definitely Bray fans that want him winning belts and all that kind of stuff, but I think a lot of Bray fans have seen what happened last time and how he was not booked very well. And of course, this again, it's different, and it's Triple H now. So just because he had a bad experience being champ, I mean, like, really, whenever he's been champ, it's been bad. You know, when he had the championship, I can't remember much in the way of great championship matches he had the first time, and then he lost it to Goldberg, and then he was champion, and I think, wasn't he just in a bit of a feud with Braun for a bit, and then he ended up losing it to Roman in that triple threat. So, I mean, I can't really remember of anything of significance when he was champion on either of his Universal reigns. And I think he was only WWE champion for about 40 days and then lost to Randy at WrestleMania. So every time he's had the championship, the big one, either the Universal or the WWE, it's always been underwhelming. He's yet to have an iconic, really good championship reign. So I think not only do people probably want him to have the belt, they want him to have a really good championship reign, like have a really good, like, good title defenses at SummerSlam or whatever, main events, all that kind of stuff. I just think people are probably a little bit weary of it because we've seen it 3 times in the past and it's never gone the way people wanted. But again, this is Triple H, so maybe it would be different this time. So yes, he would have a chance of winning it, but I would be very cautious. England, USA. will be live straight out of this. We are an hour away from the coverage beginning on ITV. An hour away, and the team should be coming back out now. Is that Memphis Depay? I've sent you the Vince thing. I will try and look at it before tonight. Alex said, did you ever watch when Connor put his arm around Putin? The guards were not happy, but Putin seemed happy. He had to put his arm down, though. I've never seen that. James said, SmackDown's not airing until 11 Eastern because of a football game. Is that true? I'm not aware of it being delayed tonight. I'm not aware of there being any problems. Check WWE's tweet. They've tweeted about Mattel and the new Logan figure. Yeah, we saw it. We saw the Logan one yesterday. I don't know if there's any new figures, but we did see the Logan one yesterday. I think it was Wrestle with Andy, actually, that pointed it out. We're just waiting for the second half to get started, my friends. Maybe WWE is going to save the Raw World Cup for December, said AEW fan. Steve said, when you think of Undertaker, you never think of him or remember his championship reign. Some wrestlers don't need it. It's a good point. Yeah, it's a really good point. You know, if you think about Undertaker, he's got the streak. He's got the killer feuds with the likes of Mankind and, of course, Kane. Who knows? You know, maybe we're going to see when Bo comes in, that be what happens with Bray. Perhaps Bray is aware of that fact and thinks to himself, well, you know, maybe I need to get a great feud. Like his feud with Randy, even that didn't go very well. But because he was absent for most of it. And it was sort of Alexa that was having to do a bit of the carrying of that. And then he finally faced him at WrestleMania and ended up losing. So, yeah, perhaps he's looking at it. Perhaps Bo could be his Kane. That could be fun. Don't know, yeah. He needs some banging feuds. His greatest rival is Randy Orton, and honestly, that feud it's had its highlights where, like, Randy burnt the compound down, but it's had its low moments as well. Ball in the Dutch defence then. So, I think we did just have a substitution. Let's just have a look on SofaScore and see who it was. So, Bergwijn has gone off. So, Steven Bergwijn is off and Memphis Depay is on. So, that's the change that the Dutch have made. Bergwijn off, Memphis Depay on. Are Ecuador going to find a goal? Are Ecuador going to be able to get back into this? I'm sure the Dutch have had a word at half-time. I can't imagine they're going to play as bad as what they did in the first half. Obviously, in Louis van Gaal, they've got very experienced manager. The Dutch have got a great manager who should be able to respond to where the game is. He's looked at it. He's decided that they need Memphis Depay up front. Right now, WWE, they've got Roman Seth best matches. Could they tease something? No, I don't think so. I don't really ever buy that at all. I don't think that the social media teams are aware as to what's happening and what's coming. I think they just put stuff up that's kind of, you know, roughly where the conversation is. I think they're aware that right now there's 10-year anniversary of the Shield, and, you know, they're just going to have a look at, you know, putting things up to do with Roman and Seth. So I think it's probably more along those lines. There's been lots of that before where people have put like stuff up and people have got excited. But I genuinely don't think that those marketing teams are made aware of any plans whatsoever. It's the same as when people make posters. Do you know what I mean? They just put on the big names. They don't put on like anything to do with what's actually going to be at the show because they're not in the loop on that. I really dislike SmackDown being on FS1. I saw a post saying it'll be there next Friday because of football. Do you think Bray LA Knight will be added to Survivor Series? It could be. I mean, I would say 50-50. Survivor Series doesn't necessarily need it. I think there's enough for Survivor Series for people to be tuning in. And you might want to save it for next week's SmackDown, to be perfectly truthful, because we've just been talking about how SmackDown needs things of significance. You know, if you have all your big matches paying off at Survivor Series, like, it doesn't leave you much for the weekly shows. So I must admit, I'd probably leave it. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just do it next week. I think Survivor Series has got more than enough for people to be tuning into. Balls up in the air, bouncing around. The Dutch getting on the end of it, bringing it down. Here's Ecuador. Ball being played forwards on the left-hand side. Ecuador take a shot. Good save, but it's followed up. Their arms up straight away. They're saying he's offside, but I don't think he's going to be. It was knocked back out by the keeper, so why would he be offside? They're saying there's a few quizzical looks, but that looks like it's going to stand. Right now it's 1-1, and I think it might be Valencia that tapped it in, you know. Valencia with his third goal of these championships. They're going to be having a little look at it. We need to see the replay. Let's have a little look here. So, ball is played forwards, up in the air. So the Dutch... Okay, so here they come. Ball played forwards. Shots in. It's onside. He's onside. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. He's onside, all good. That goal should stand. There we go. Look at that. Ecuador all down on their knees, and they deserve this. They deserve this. I don't think anyone would begrudge them this goal. So, Valencia scoring right at the start of the second half. So Ali McCoy said a forward is always going to be on the move. They're always going to be looking to find a way of getting past that offside trap, whereas a defender is not always on the move. They're having to react a little bit more to what the forward is doing. So, you know, it is slight advantage forward when it comes to the offside rule. And there's a good example of it there where you've got Valencia on the move. The defender's a little bit too static. He was able to just get that split-second leap on him. And that meant that he was there just ahead of the defenders to put the ball in the back of the net. And it's 1-1. The Dutch are going to lose this game, said Irish. You deserve it, said Dark Angel. Yeah, we should have had the confetti on the go. I mean, to be honest, the problem is, this is the problem with VAR. Like, back in the day, you would look at the lineman to see if he was offside or not. If the flag was down, that's it. Goal, celebrate it, fill your boots. There ain't no comeback. It's a goal. Whereas now, you know that there's going to be a video check afterwards, and you don't know if it's goal or not. What are your predictions for USA-England? I am going to say 2-1. 2-1 England. I feel like I can't believe England are going to produce another performance as good as what we saw in that first game. I think that they are the better side. I think USA are battling to stay in this World Cup. But equally, England are battling to get out of this group. So England are going to be fighting because they certainly not job done, is it, by any means? So England are going to be fighting to get out this group. Ideally, they're going to want to be finishing top of the group. This game could be a problem, though, because if Ecuador win this, all of a sudden the Dutch go into second place. So all of a sudden it starts to look like it could be England versus Netherlands. But listen, Ecuador have played better here. Ball played forward and it goes out of play. So far, 1-1. The only thing is the Dutch haven't played Qatar yet. So if this is going to be a draw, quite fancy the Dutch to get a win in their last game. Obviously, there's no guarantees that Ecuador are going to beat Senegal. So if this is a draw, I think it's still advantage. To the Dutch to finish top of the group. But, guys, it blows the group wide open. There's very definitely 3 teams here that can go through. Senegal losing to the Dutch, but winning earlier today against Qatar, so they're on 3 points. The Dutch winning their first game and drawing here, they would be on 4 points. Ecuador winning their first game and drawing this, they would be on 4 points. So it'd be Ecuador on 4, Netherlands on 4, Senegal on 3. Ecuador and Senegal will be playing each other. And the Dutch are going to be playing Qatar, so... You can see that guy there. He's got his head in his hands. We got some real drama here. Look, there's Louis van Gaal putting his head down. If you don't FIFA, go see Stranger Things. I think England 3-1, said Nathan. Isn't Triple H the chief content officer? Doesn't that mean he's in charge of social media channels? He is chief content officer, so he could oversee social media channels, but it's going to remain the same. The people in those teams are not going to be told as to, like, the plans. So unless he turns around and says, look, can you give me something to do with Roman and Seth, and not actually tell them why, like, they need to put something up to do with Roman and Seth. Unless he's doing that. But to be honest, I don't think he's going to want to be that hands-on. I don't think he's going to want to be, that deep into the weeds when it comes to social media. I think his focus is booking the shows and planning the stories and working with the creative departments. Maybe if they've got a big campaign like White Rabbit, then he might be a little bit more involved with the social media side. But I think by and large, social media is going to largely been left to itself. It normally has been. So yeah, he oversees all of that stuff, but I very much doubt he pays it all equal attention, because undeniably the bigger focus needs to be the booking of the show and what you do in the future and who you're utilizing and, being backstage to interact with the talents, because obviously the talents are going to want to talk to him at the shows. And so I'd imagine he's in constant communication with the talents, constant communication with the creative department. So how much he's able to spend time with the social media teams, I would imagine, is limited. And then add in the fact that I just think he's certainly not going to want to bring them into the plans. Definitely not. Because then you run the risk of things getting spoiled. Then you run the risk of more things being leaked. Like, you really need, when it comes to the plans, like, the less people to know about it. So unless he's saying to them, right, on this date, give me a video to do with this, and he's not telling them why, unless he's doing that, I think it's unlikely that anything that goes up on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, I think it's very unlikely any of that's got any actual connection to where the shows are heading. Where will England finish? Well, people are expecting quarterfinals. But I think they stand a chance of getting a little further. Ball being cleared. I heard England management have brought Pretty Deadly in to give England team a pep talk. That'll do it. Dutch clearing the ball. I think Enner Valencia is top scorer at the moment. He is. I'm going to say 2-1 to the USA, says Edwards. Right, we've got nearly at the hour mark. We've only got about half an hour to go, and then we will be going over to our England-USA stream. I really hope that this isn't going to have tons of added on time. I really, really want this stream to end and just go straight into that next one. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of pride, banter, emotion, as both nations battle to try and get out of this group. We're seeing a bit of dancing. There's the ball is pulled back. Oh, my God, if he'd have scored that, that would have been sick. Oh, it's off the crossbar. Off the crossbar by Ecuador. Off the crossbar by Ecuador. They are really causing Netherlands a problem. Really causing Netherlands a problem. I tell you what, I think if you want to talk about underrated teams, Ecuador are in that conversation here. That is a great block. And then that one crashing off the crossbar. Look at that. Boom. Very fortunate, the Dutch. Very fortunate. Tell you what, Ecuador. Lovely skill. Lovely skill. They're a joy to watch, aren't they? Dancing around on the wing. Ball being played into the middle. Being played forwards. Ten Hag has got to get Valencia now, said James. He's playing well, isn't he? Hail to the king, says Dark Angel. Ecuador are going to win this. I think they seriously look legit, said Spencer. How come your Twitter account is suspended? My Twitter account is suspended because I had... Well, I can't remember how they said it was a violation of Twitter terms, Twitter rules. And they haven't given me a reason why. I actually don't know why. They haven't sent me an email. Even now, they have not sent me an email saying why. I presume it's because of sharing links to these watch-alongs and that they think these are links to actual games. That's what I think has happened. I've said before the World Cup started, I think that Ecuador would get out of the group, said Felix. Hamad said, Netherlands are looking mediocre. Elon Musk hates wrestling days. Elon is just salty, says Sonny. Okay, so we have got the ball being played forwards. It's being chased after by Ecuador. It's over on that left-hand side. Ball in the middle. Tell you what, they break. They've got such pace, haven't they? Do you know what game would be really fun? Ecuador against Japan. That game would be really fun. I'd love to see Ecuador against Japan. Both teams have got great pace. Wonder who would win. Ball being played back to the Dutch keeper. Comes into Ake. Again, the Dutch just passing it around. Ball being launched forwards. Headed down. So Ecuador have got it. They're trying to build, but the Dutch win it back. It's in the middle of the park. It's 1-1 here. Very close, very tense. They're just saying that De Jong just might need to settle this down a little bit because the Dutch, it is true, they're not really building anything of significance. Ecuador have got plenty of players back. That back four, back five, and they've got 3 shielding. Yep, still can't find a way forwards. Ecuador heading the ball away. It's up in the air, and now we're seeing them counter. Ball up in the air. Bouncing around in the Ecuador half. So Netherlands are getting a little bit more of the ball at the moment. If you look at XG, expected goals, it's at 1.52. So according to this, XG is leaning now towards Ecuador deserving a second. Ball being pulled back, and he just couldn't wrap his leg around it. Ecuador player inside the penalty area. Ball comes to him. He just could not get his leg around it. Ecuador have had 10 shots, 3 on target. It is last-ditch defending by Ake. Dutch on the ball again. Netherlands on the ball in their own half, playing it forward. Goes over to the left-hand side. Here's Ake. Plenty of Ecuador players back into the centre. Nicely won back there by Ecuador, and that's great work by the Netherlands to get it back again. Very close, very tense, very interesting game. I would say finely balanced, but I feel like it's not. I feel like it's Ecuador that are definitely, easily looking like the better side. The Dutch have still only had 1 shot. Apart from that goal, they've done nothing. They've done nothing. They've had no big chances. They've done nothing. They've had, do you know what? They've had no big chances, and they've had no shots inside the Ecuador box. This is a Dutch team that England, honestly, at this stage, don't need to fear. Dutch playing it over onto the wing. It gets played back. I, honestly, looking at this, would rather play Netherlands than Ecuador after what we've seen. If England do top the group. Ball, edge of the area. Shot comes in and it's skied over. So a shot there by the Dutch. Edge of the area. Still not inside the penalty area. But it is skied over by the Netherlands. Days, Elon needs to do a stream match. Elon will blabber with his pan-hit face, said Alex. Do you think USA can get an upset tonight with England, says Elon. Do I think USA can get an upset tonight? Yeah, it's on the cards. Definitely can get something from the game. We've said before, and we've seen in this tournament, Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, Japan, beating Germany, Canada, almost getting a result against Belgium. Like, there's been some surprise results already. I think, the thing is, what's happened in the previous games is a bit irrelevant. Because at the bottom line, there's going to be 11 Americans and 11 English players on the pitch. And you start from 0-0, don't you? So whatever has happened in previous games, the 6-2 that England beat Iran by, it's done. It's in the past. It's in the history books. Now we start from 0-0. And USA have absolutely got some players that can hurt England. I mean, what happens if USA, kick off, break forwards, win a corner, score from a corner in the first few minutes? I mean, that completely changes the game, doesn't it? Completely changes the game. All of a sudden then, England are 1-0 down, and they've got to try and get back into a game against an American side that could sit deep and make things very frustrating and just have 11 players behind the ball. They could just put every single player in their own half, in and around their penalty area, and just make it really hard for England to actually get any decent shots at goal. And England could take pot shots from range, but they could bounce off players. They could go over the bar. Keeper could easily save them because he can, he's got time to react. All of a sudden, the game looks very, very different to the one that I think we're maybe anticipating. I mean, I'm expecting it to be quite a close little cagey affair. But an early goal for the USA completely changes the whole game. So, yeah, each game is really its own story. And England come into this with a lot of confidence and momentum. And some great players that are on great form, but it doesn't mean anything, does it, at the end of the day? Argentina went into their game against Saudi Arabia having been undefeated since 2019. They had not lost a game in 3 years. They were on the verge of breaking the all-time international records for most wins by an international side. So, I mean, what kind of momentum did Argentina go into that game with? What kind of confidence and enthusiasm did they go into that game with? And the end result was 2-1 to Saudi Arabia. So, yes, absolutely, USA have got an opportunity to get something out of this game. 100%. Avocado, shout out to you. Hamid says 2-0 to England is my prediction. We're getting a substitution here. So Klaassen is going off. So Klaassen is off. He did get the assist. So Klaassen has been removed, and we are seeing Burgess? I think that's how you might pronounce it. He is on the field. Berghaus is how you say his name. Berghaus. Don't know much about Berghaus. Let's just have a little look and see what we can learn about him. Berghaus made a spicy move in 2021 from Feyenoord to arch rivals Ajax. He had reckoned with negative reactions, but linking him with murdered Ajax fans and a mural depicting him as a Jewish Holocaust victim even shocked him. I made the move to Ajax because I wanted to get out of everything of my career. The transfer that it used to be my pitfall. I was occupied with others. I've definitely made steps in the right direction. In a match against Belgium, Louis van Gaal was forced to post him in front of the defence after a few minutes. Even in that role, he performed more than adequately. Doesn't really tell us much. Just says that he had a torrid time when he made a move from one arch rival to another. And he's playing for Ajax right now. He's 30. He did play in the last game and he scored 6 out of 10. That's how The Guardian scored him. They gave him 6 out of 10. So he has slotted into that midfield. I mean, I'm guessing that Van Gaal just wants to see him doing a little bit better, wants to see that Dutch midfield doing a little bit better, being a bit more competitive. It does feel like Ecuador are winning the midfield battle. So I think he's just put a little bit more into that midfield. But 1-1. Do you think anything interesting will happen between Ronda and Shotzi match, like Sasha return or Charlotte return? No, not expecting anything. I mean, if anything, I'm thinking that Ronda's next feud is going to be Becky, because I think she'll face Becky at WrestleMania. I think that's the plan. I don't know if that'll be the first time they meet, or will it be the end of their feud. I don't know. I don't know where Ronda is after WrestleMania. I don't know if Ronda's still around. I think she might have done the wrestling thing by the time we get to WrestleMania, and that could be the end of Ronda in WWE. I really don't know what the future looks like for Ronda. I really, really don't know. She might be really enjoying it. Don't know. But I get the feeling that she had a bit of unfinished business. I think there was still a bit of time on a contract, and I can see her having a match at Mania against Becky. But well, where we go after that, I don't know. So yeah, it would seem, I don't know, if we're going to do like a Charlotte Ronda feud and then go into her feud with Becky afterwards, like we're having to fit quite a bit in there. Not impossible, because the feud with Becky could just be the one match. So it's not impossible, but I don't know. I don't really know that I can see that happening. I can see them treading water for a while, to be honest. She's facing Shotzi now. I could see her facing someone else that's, Shotzi level. I think the bigger story is her and Shayna. I think her and Shayna being together could be a focus. Here is the Dutch. They've dinked it over, and it's gone wide. Has the flag gone up? Flag has now gone up. I think that was Gakpo. So, 74th minute. She could feud with Shayna, then Raquel, and then maybe Becky said very Irish potato. I want to see Ronda and Shayna before Rousey is done. Yeah, that is probably something. If she is done by WrestleMania, then I think there's got to be a match with Shayna coming, and you would think. And if she is done at WrestleMania, they would know that. So, I don't know quite know how you fit that into the build with Becky. Estrada has been subbed off. And Sarmiento has come on. So, 74th minute, 16 minutes to go. 1-1. Anyone's game. Which way is this going to go? At the moment, we are seeing the expected goals just sneaking up. Ball headed clear by the Dutch, but the Dutch have still only had that one shot on target. 75th minute, and the Dutch have had one shot on target. I hope Canada can get out of their group, said Elon. I love the playing style they use. Instant pressure on the opposite team and no time wasting. Legend Killer said, come on, Netherlands. Rotem said Scripps is going to be the 5th member. That's a big talking point tonight, actually, on SmackDown. Who is the 5th member? Where is Becky? Has she been injured? Yes. Through Mac said, who are you supporting? I don't know, I really don't know here. I don't know. Before, I would have said the Dutch, because I need the Dutch to win this group, because if England win their group, I don't want to play the Dutch. Having watched Ecuador, I don't want to play Ecuador. Like, we are going to have to play one of these teams, but I don't want to play Ecuador. Ecuador have looked so good. So I don't know. The problem is, the Dutch could click. They could find form. They've got great players. You look at the likes of Gakpo, you look at the likes of Depay, you look at the likes of Frankie de Jong. Like, these are really good players. Timber, Van Dijk. They've got De Ligt on the bench, who's regarded as one of the best young defenders. They've got Dumfries. Like, they've got some really, really good players that if they click, they could really cause most teams, maybe any team, a problem. So you look at it and go, I don't want to play the Dutch. But then you look at how well Ecuador are playing here and you go, I don't want to play Ecuador. So, I don't know who I'm rooting for. I think, to be honest, I'm not going to worry about it. I think what will be. We'll play whoever we play. And that's probably the more healthy way to look at it. I just read an article about Scripps being based on a real-life stalker. It's going to be Ecuador 2, Netherlands 1, said Silliban. Ball is going over. Oh, no, good tackle. Do you think the Yanks will win today? I don't think they'll win. I don't think the US will win today. I think they've got a chance, but I don't think they will. I mean, I am an England fan, so I probably am a bit biased. But as we said, we've got tons of American friends that will be joining us for that stream. And that stream will be starting very, very soon. Soon as this game ends. There won't be any post-conversation. I'm literally going to shut the stream down and we will go straight to our next stream. It's already been reported by Fightful that the 5th member will be Becky, said James. Hamad said, at least it's not France. That's true. This War Games will be set around Sammy's loyalty being tested, with Owens being in there. We will definitely see signs of what the future plans are for this story, said Steve. Yep. It's a little bit like the Rumble, really. Yeah, you've got the winners, and that's important, but it does normally generate a few other stories and a few other new feuds and stuff like that, and I can definitely see that being the case out of both of the men's and women's War Games matches. War Games. The US are going to struggle with England's pace, said Alan. That's good observation. Watson said, sorry for joining late, but I do need to leave soon, and I'll even miss the first half of the England game. Oh. Ball back with the Ecuador keeper. 12 minutes to go. Giving the ball away in a very dangerous area, and this is where these quality teams can hurt you. You can just see that happening. You could just see Ecuador making that late mistake. The Dutch picking up the ball, scoring a goal, winning the game, doing exactly like Belgium did, winning a game they do not deserve to win. Like, this is what the big teams that have the skillful players that can just, create that moment, take that chance. That's what these big nations, these big footballing nations are capable of doing. So, you can never rule the Dutch out. You can never rule the Dutch out. So, looks like Gakpo is going off. So, Gakpo and Coop Miners has gone off. Coop Miners and Gakpo. Weghorst and De Roon have come on. Into the final 10. Did you get your Twitter account back? If not, how did you make a second account? Did it not permanently suspend? So my Twitter account is still suspended because I've not heard anything from them. No email, no communication, absolutely nothing. The only communication I've had is on Twitter itself, where it said it's suspended. And then it says you can lodge an appeal, which I've done. Did it straight away. Haven't heard anything. And the other account was already there. It already existed. That other account is set to a different email. I'm not aware that you can create multiple accounts using the same email. If you can, that's news to me. So my other account is using a different email that's associated with it. So that one, it was fine until it got locked last night, but it's unlocked now. So yeah, lots of drama. Ball being put into the air, headed clear. Edge of the area, skied by Ecuador. Ecuador. James said 3-0 USA. Legend Killer says, come on, Netherlands. Right, ball being played forwards, goes over to the left-hand side by Netherlands. Down the line and into the middle of the park. So the ball being passed around by Ecuador. It does feel like something's just gone out of the game temporarily. It does feel like the game is not quite where it was with its end-to-end action. Right now, Ecuador have got the ball in their own half and they're just passing it around. They're saying Ecuador have been the better side in this second half. They were the better side in the first half as well. But you know what can happen. And there's probably going to be a chunk of added on time, isn't there, as well? Ball going down the line, being chased after, but straight into the hands of the keeper. Always good to create several backup accounts with different emails. Scotty, shout out to you. Very Irish Potato said, what's your new Twitter? There should be a link on the community page. So actually, if you go to the YouTube homepage, at the top in the banner of my channel, there's links to Facebook and Twitter. I updated that. So if you click on the Twitter one on the banner in the bottom corner, that'll take you straight to it. But also on the community page, there should be a message that's got a link there as well. Right, we are 8 minutes. 8 minutes. The Dutch have got the ball. The excitement is building for our next game. England in action next against the USA. And that game is going to be tasty. Really, really tasty. As we said, who knows how that game is going to go. Really, who knows? We haven't even had team news yet, but that team news should be out very soon. So that team news is going to be interesting. So even the hour before, there's going to be tons to talk about and get our teeth into. Are there going to be any surprises? You know, could Gareth Southgate pull out a bit of a swerve? Will Harry Kane start? We are thinking and expecting that he will start, but will he start? Will he go with Foden? Will he keep the same team? I'm expecting the same team that played against Iran. I would imagine the US are probably expecting the same team. Could he change shape, though? Could he decide to go with the back five instead? Ball with Ecuador down that right-hand side. It's probably going to be 20 minutes added, said James. It's going to be about 20 minutes. Yeah, true. It's going to be a third half. A whole extra half will be added on. Right, it's going to be a throw in to Ecuador. We've seen lots of late drama. Don't forget, earlier today, Iran beat Wales with 2 goals in added on time. I think it was like the 91st, 93rd, and the 98th minute. Ball going all the way back to the Dutch keeper. Launches the ball forwards. Both sides would only need a point from their final game to go through. So, you know, you've got to think the Dutch will be able to get a point against Qatar. Right, there's a challenge and the Dutch player goes down. Looks like it's going to be a free kick. Ball being played into the middle. Comes over to that left-hand side. Okay, driving forwards. Oh, not a great challenge there. Not a great challenge. Ake going down. That was by Concedo. Concedo coming over and, yeah, not great. You expect better from Concedo. He's a fantastic defensive midfielder, but that was not a great challenge at all. I don't support US. I support my country, Guyana, which sadly is not at the World Cup, said Justin. Tarek said, are you excited for SmackDown? Yeah, it's a go home, so I don't know if excited is the word, but we're going to get confirmation of who the 5th person is. We're going to get, you know, the builds and probably a bit of Bray, and, you know, there's going to be talking points, hopefully. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Excited? I don't know. I'm excited for Survivor Series. I can definitely say that. Ball on that right-hand side. Gets played back. It's going to be England 5, USA 0. Alex said, what food can you absolutely not stand? Cannot stand. I don't know. I don't like cherries. I'm not a cherries fan. Ball going over to the right-hand side and comes in. I don't know, to be honest. I think I pretty much eat most things. I'm pretty good at eating most things. Obviously, I've got things that I favour over others. And, you know, some of the weird stuff, like, you know, I might not be thrilled to be eating tripe or something like this, you know? Like, clearly I'm going to much prefer a burger and a pizza and a, you know, all that kind of stuff. But, honestly, I don't know. I cannot think off the top of my head of anything that I would not eat. I don't know. Cherries. I know that I don't like cherries, and that I've never been a fan of cherries, even when I was a kid. Raisins as well, I suppose. Like raisins, not a fan of raisins, cherries. I sort of feel like they're sort of in the same family. Sort of in the same family. That family. I don't like that family. Maybe we see something with Alexa and Bray tonight, said Jojo. Maybe. Hope everyone has got a great day on Thanksgiving watching the Macy's parade at Games and Football, said Christian Power. Yeah, I hope everyone's had a good Thanksgiving and they're having a good Black Friday as well. It's Black Friday. Friday. Get your deals, it's Friday. Buying things, yeah. Buying things, yeah. We've got a player down. No, I don't want this added on time. So is that Valencia as well that's down? Oh, look at that. We're seeing the Gakpo goal. Beautiful. Beautiful Gakpo goal. Okay, so at the moment, we've just got a little bit of a problem because I think Valencia is down. If they lose Valencia, oh, yeah, he's being stretchered, you know. He's being stretchered. I feel like Ecuador are a great team, but he has been brilliant for them. Yeah, he's going off. Doesn't look good, does it? I mean, when someone's being stretchered. So Valencia goes off. I hate crumpets, said TD. USA. US. Oh, I love crumpets, you know. I love them. So nice. Warm, satisfying, comfort food. Lineups are out, said Niall, and it is unchanged. England unchanged. Well, I suppose we shouldn't be massively surprised at that news. England being unchanged from beating Iran 6-2. I did have a little wonder about Harry Kane, to be honest. I mean, I know he had a scan and it was a precaution. Everything's good, but oh my God, we do not need to lose him. That is massive for Ecuador, said a very Irish potato. Yeah, it is massive for Ecuador. That could be big for Senegal as well because it seems like Senegal against Ecuador will be to see who goes through. I think the Dutch are going to go through if this ends a draw. Oh, the keeper took a kick and it bounced off the player but went behind. If this ends a draw, then I feel pretty good that the Dutch are going to go through because I think they'll beat Qatar. So I feel pretty good that the Dutch will go through, but I don't know what that is going to do for Ecuador because Ecuador against Senegal, I think, is going to be a close game and they would need Valencia for that. Do you like the recent added times or do you hate it? I am split on it. There's been some games where like the team you want to win is trailing and you're like, yes, I'm really pleased they've got this extra time. But then the team that you know, if the game is done, you know, we watched Spain score 7 against Costa Rica. I don't need 10 extra minutes in that game. Spain, like, I don't need 10 extra minutes in that game. Costa Rica certainly don't need 10 extra minutes in that game. So I look at those games and I'm like, don't need it. Don't want it. It's, you know, I'm not going to say a chore to sit through, but it's like, don't need it. But then, you know, you watch other games and you look at them and you go, well, you know, Japan are losing or whatever, or drawing, or, you know, like here, Ecuador are battling away. Well, they've got 6 minutes to find a winner and they've been the better team. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm split on it. I'm really split on it. I mean, I'm sure if you ask Wales how they feel about it, they'll be very clear. They battled hard for 90 minutes and then conceded 2 in this kind of extended period of time. If England beat America, we will call it football. If America beat England, we will call it soccer, said Easy99. Jonah said no changes for England's starting 11 and only one change for the US. Reina is still on the bench, which is stupid. Yeah, I did hear a lot of people call in for him in that last game, so it is a surprise that he's still on the bench. 3 minutes. Saudi has announced a new Rolls Royce for every team member that beats Argentina, said Travis. It's not even full-time yet. 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. And then we're shutting the stream down. And I'll try and get to that next stream as soon as possible. I mean, like, it'll probably just start on the hour now. There's not really much point moving it for a couple of minutes. I think it was due to start at 6 anyway. Iran wouldn't have had a chance to go through if it wasn't for that added on time, said Watson. The Ecuador fans are cheering away. They must be so proud of what they've seen. So proud. I mean, look at those numbers. 14 shots to 2. 4 on target to 1. They must be so proud. And even with Valencia off the pitch, they're still pushing forward. Look, they're pleading. They're pleading. Pleading. They know that a draw here is not the worst, but they would still need to get something against Senegal. They've got a corner. It's a corner to Ecuador. Let's have a look. What can they do? What can they do? Ball high, in the middle, up in the air by the Dutch. Cleared, comes down. It's kept in play, but just runs out. They're praying to the gods. They're praying to the football gods. Imagine if Pulisic scores and shows his shirt, and underneath it says, "Soccer is coming home." Honestly, all that kind of, it's not needed. All of that, like, bantery celebration. You know, it reminds me of when that Alex Morgan scored against England and did the drinking of tea celebration. Like, that, I don't know quite the reasoning for it, to be honest, but it came across certainly in this country as disrespectful. And I'm sure she's not bothered about that. But that's just not the kind of thing that I subscribe to be honest. That's not the kind of thing. If England, score tonight, I don't want them miming eating a burger or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to see a bit of class. Celebrate your goal, but there's no need to stoop to those kind of levels. So I hope we don't see anything like that. I hope that if USA score, they don't do the tea drinking celebration thing, But we're going to find out, aren't we? Because we are about to go over to that game. So a big thank you to everyone for joining us here. I'm going to go get set up for the next stream. We will be back in a moment with England versus USA.